Did it ever happen to you that you were thinking of doing something in your career, but things are not really working out very well? Things seem to be off. Things seem to be not really matching. You've put in a lot of effort, a lot of years of planning, and a lot of stuff, but things don't seem to be fulfilling. What if I tell you a student of mine, Shefali, has actually taken a clue from some of these things which were really bothering her and took a leap of faith and said, hey, you know what? I think this is the time for me to find something where I really find myself and really create very good value. And that's when she actually transitioned from being a fashion designer, having successfully run a fashion startup for around 6 years, to transition into a UX designer within a period of around 1 year. Her story is really, really inspirational. And, even after doing a bunch of things and having a successful startup, she has still made up her mind to find something which finds a lot of meaning to her and where she can create very good value. That is the story which we'll be bringing in today. Shefali's story will remind us that all it takes is really the right mindset to continuously keep learning, to be enthusiastic, to make sure that you take every opportunity to take ownership and lead. This is what her story talks about. A few things about Shefali for giving some context. So, she was my student around 1 year back, and she spent around 1 year time with me under my mentorship. And there are three significant things which I should talk about her. One is that she was a very amazing student. She was very, very enthusiastic. She would always be there, attend all the calls, do multiple assignments, ask a bunch of questions. She was very, very enthusiastic. The second thing is not only that she was a very, very good student, she was also a person who would always come and volunteer. She would always offer help. She was always wanted to participate things backstage, right? She was very enthusiastic in saying, hey, Anudeep, I'm there. I can always help this out, help on this. Hey, Anudeep, I've seen that you have released this assignment. I also have an idea for another assignment. Why don't we do something like this? She was always taking that ownership, and she was always ready to go and do something extra, right? That is one thing. And the third thing, which was very significant, is she also took the ownership to become a group mentor and formed a group, mentored a bunch of students. Along with she learning and building her portfolio and stuff like that, she also helped a bunch of other students with their portfolios as well, and also acted as a mentor. So these are three significant things which she did as a part of the mentoring time which we had. And the very, very important part is a lot of people thought, hey, you know what is the reason? Why should Shefali do all these things? Why can't she just simply focus on just learning a bunch of things, building the portfolio straightforward, and just get out of it, right? Why spend so much time? Why spend 1 year of time with Anudeep? Why keep going back, helping him? Like, why are you helping Anudeep make more money and helping him make more money for the future batches and all that stuff? But nobody actually knew that all this was only helping her build herself, build herself an amazing career, right? So much so that she actually sent me a message one day. I'll show that message over here on the screen. One day she sends me a message saying that she has actually gotten this wonderful opportunity at Wyzard.ai, where she is working right now. And she says that I really want to thank you with all my heart. Everything you taught us and whatever I've done, everything seems to be manifesting right now, and everything seems to be working out very well, right? I'm now reaping the benefits of believing the process, right? And she was very natural at that, right? And she is today doing very well. She is actually doing leading design as a senior UX designer at Wyzard.ai, an AI based startup, where she also exhibits these three things. one, she's a very, very enthusiastic learner. So she's constantly updating herself with what's happening in the AI world. This is a really amazing startup. I can really see that they're building a marketplace for AI agent powered software, right? And they're basically doing AI agent workflows and creating a marketplace with it. I'm damn sure there's going to be amazing with all the AI related tools which are really coming up, all the software which is really coming up, a marketplace which also you can use, with agentic workflows. It's going to be really amazing. It's going to make a lot of stuff really easier. I'm very excited about this idea, and I'm very happy that Shefali is actually here, not only doing traditional UX design, but also learning a lot of stuff, because this requires a lot of upskilling right now. Only the enthusiasts really are over there, but I can absolutely see that Shefali has the whole enthusiasm to learn a lot about these stuff and design with AI and design for an AI company, right? So that's what she's doing right now. She has proved that she is a very good student by constantly learning. She has proved that she takes very good ownership and does a lot of things by being, having amazing growth in her career. They identified that she is very enthusiastic, and they also promoted her recently. Congratulations, Shefali, for that, right? And on top of it, she also is now helping a bunch of other peers at her work and leading their team, showcasing her managerial skills and mentorship skills, which she has also picked up while she was actually in that 1 year time she had with me, right? So I'm really, really happy that Shefali has built an entire career out of it and only has a very amazing path ahead in front of her with whatever foundation she has laid while she was learning design. So now that you are very much interested in Shefali's journey, let's actually invite Shefali onto the live. So, hey Shefali, we welcome you.
Hi.
Yes, all the people watching this live, why don't you say welcome Shefali, hi Shefali, or please
Hey,
showcase your
everyone.
excitement by saying, I'm excited to listen to Shefali's inspirational story. Yes, how are you doing, Shefali?
I am doing very well, Anudeep. How are you?
Amazing as always. Yeah, what you see is what you get.
Thanks for having me over. Yeah.
Really, really happy that you made the time to be here. Thank you so much. Right.
Hey,
And I mean, to always keep the relationship going forward. And I'm really, really excited to have this conversation with you. So thank you so much initially.
same here, Anudeep.
So, yes, yes. So, Shafali, tell me one thing. So, how are you managing all this enthusiasm, right? You I don't want to say, at least you look not so young, but you are very young at heart. So how are you managing this enthusiasm? Like, that's the first thing I want to really ask. What keeps you so motivated?
I think that, I'm very passionate about what I'm doing and I absolutely love every minute of it. So, 60-hour work week, 90-hour work week, doesn't matter. I'm here all the time. I absolutely love it. And that's why I'm always enthusiastic, and motivated to do more. Like, be it 9 p.m. in the night, I'm like, good to go.
Yes, and you were always like this. Like, it was never like, initially, you have some of these prejudices like, oh yeah, because there are a lot of people, there are young students who join, there are like, people who transition, are like, I'm like, okay, fine, probably she'll probably do it for a few months, and like, and probably she'll drop off. Like, I'm sorry, I have some of
Yeah.
the,
Oh,
some
yeah.
of these judgments which have, but she totally proved everything wrong. I'm like, dude, this is how an enthusiastic senior person is. This is how, this is the standard for it, right? So, always
Yeah, yeah.
love
I
your,
meant
yeah.
business.
Yes, yes, go ahead, go ahead, go ahead. Yeah,
No, I was just saying, I meant business, when I joined in. So I really fell in love with it and I just wanted to, see where this goes. And I think it's in a very amazing place. Like I said, I love every minute of it. So yeah, just,
absolutely, because you have become the person who absolutely loves the learning, and
Yeah.
it is very natural that you have found a place which is really in a very very good spot right now,
Yeah.
and it is very natural that they found you and they are also promoting you and focusing on your growth as well. And I mean, it's very obvious. It was a very obvious thing for me at least. I'm like, okay, Shefali to like she'll do amazing, like, no doubt, right?
Thank
Yes.
you.
So yes, so for the audience, Shefali, why don't you speak a little bit about yourself as a normal person? I'm not asking you about what you do as at work, what are you as a UX designer, all that will come right. But right
Yeah.
now, what I want us to talk about is how do you describe yourself as a normal person, so that others can also relate. You know, we always start with this because people are like always they're like, oh man, like I mean, if someone has achieved so much, they are God sent. They are not like normal people like us. So first, let's break that, and let's yeah, let's talk about the normal
Okay.
person you are. Yeah,
So the normal person I am is I'm a dog mom, and I'm a dog mom to two very very naughty kids, and I've been married to my high school, my college sweetheart, and it's been what, like I think 16 years that we've been married, so it's been a while. And other than that, early riser, and yeah, I like watching movies and cinema, sci-fi, so yeah, all that basic stuff.
got it, got it. So what is your general day? Like what do you do? Like if
My
you
general day, yeah.
say
So I
with your
usually wake up like, yeah, I wake up like 5:30, 5:45. Then I usually take my dog for a walk, trying to get into the 5 a.m. club. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
and then I get ready for office and we leave around 8:15. So I reach office like I'm usually the early people to reach because I like that morning hour, to myself and to just gather my thoughts and start my day. And
Okay.
then yeah, then I usually leave office. I'm always mostly at my seat because I do a lot of things there, and I
Very
yeah,
exciting. Yeah.
I am very excited to do that. So 7:30 I leave back for home, come back home, and then spend some time with family, have dinner, and then go to sleep by 10:30.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Uh,
very basic, very
Summarize
focused day.
day in the life of a senior UX designer. Yeah, here it is for you guys.
Yeah,
Awesome. Yes. Okay, so Shefali, so what we're going to talk about today is obviously we're going to talk about multiple phases of how you transition and how you made this entire story happen for yourself. The entire success story, which if we zoom out and we look at it, it's like a large success story. But when we actually zoom in and see, as a mentor, I really know the amount of effort, the amount of persistence, and how much, like all the hardships as well, like some of the doubts, hardships, the lows,
yeah,
all these things together. Finally, we are here at a I think 2 year journey, isn't it? It's been a 2 year journey since
yeah, or
we
2.5.
two
Yeah,
and a half years, right?
yeah,
So, so yes, so now we actually see that what an amazing transformation and has happened, right? So this is what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about this entire story, right? So what we're going to so before obviously before people get to that point where you actually transitioned, what I
yeah,
really want to talk to you about is right from your childhood, what is that which fundamentally motivated you very well, right? Obviously, because you know what we generally talk about, right? Fundamental skills. We talk a lot about fundamental skills, and obviously, the same thing might have actually made you pursue a bunch of things while you're studying. Probably the same thing actually made you pursue fashion design and the startup and stuff like that. And the same thing made you move from there, learn UX design, do a bunch of things. And the same thing is now motivating you to become an AI powered UX designer as well, right?
yeah.
So, what is that fundamentally right from your childhood that that actually kept motivating you very well? So, what is that? Yeah. I want to hear that part of your story, like what fundamentally motivates you.
Um, I think if I was to name one thing, I think it's I've always been very sincere.
Okay.
So, I mean,
Any
in my childhood,
of
I was like
sincerity.
backbencher.
There are some stories, if at all, you remember from your childhood, right? I mean,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So
uh,
I was always a backbencher, standing outside the class, always in punishment and all, but still I was very sincere, very naughty but sincere. When it came to,
you
something
just
that I
sincerely
wanted to
stand
learn.
outside the class. You're like not running, really running away.
There are multiple ways of learning. Yeah. So,
You are kneel
like
down,
I have an
you are
example.
sincerely doing kneel down, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, I was one of those people, who was made monitor because they were so naughty that, okay, isko monitor bana do. So,
yes,
probably things would be like in place. So,
correct.
yeah, I mean, whatever like I set my heart to know, Anajib, I would do that with everything that I had, right?
Okay,
So that is one thing. Be it studies, and studies, maybe it would, if there's like say 5 chapters coming in an exam, okay, and I have my heart set on one, no, I will only go after that one, right? And then you cannot
yeah,
question me. Now then I was good enough to actually question my teachers, and
yeah,
they would say that, it is
correct.
difficult to cut 1 mark. That is how they thought about it, and I was never worried about the rest of the four, right? But whatever that one thing that I did, right, I did it with all my heart. And I think now, after this entire journey, and I realize that, I think that has really been that fundamental quality that you were just talking about.
Yes, I actually split it into two parts, right? Because one is the focus, right? That's the second part, actually. The second part is the focus. You have really focused very well and you gave your heart to it. But the most difficult part, which is the first part, that is actually finding what to focus on, right?
Yeah,
That is one of the most difficult things. And the good part about what I observed with you, Shefali, always is you made sure you're clear about what you're doing. And once you've taken the decision, you are committed, right? You're
yeah,
not, I never, almost never saw you mentally down. I'm like, oh, Anudeep, I don't think this is working out. I'm like, you're like there, like I have committed myself. Be it your volunteering time, be it the assignments, or be it a bunch of even all those mentoring and all the stuff which you did, like be it whatever, all these things. The moment you committed, you're like, no, I'm going to do this. Whether all the other teams dissolved, I don't care. My team is going to run. I am going to run it like
yeah,
this.
yeah.
Right?
And
So,
I remember,
absolutely. So
Pradeep, that
yeah.
yeah, sorry to cut you, but
Huh,
I remember that when I joined your course, right? I
huh,
was obviously, I think, the eldest person there, and I was surrounded by 20 or 21-year-old kids, right? I think that was the moment where I was like, okay, very young kids over here, like the conversations they're having, everything, right? But I was committed. I was like, nee, I have to do this. I will see this through.
correct. Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. Absolutely. I think you're not probably telling everything. Like, I am going to be so good at this. All these 20-year-olds are going to be like, wow, come on. How are you doing it? I'm sure that's what she thought in her mind. Correct. So, so let's actually talk about that, right? Probably, can you provide some insights on? Because I'll tell you, the biggest problem for a lot of people is finding what to focus on, right? And after committing, like after deciding, then committing, like both are very difficult things. I'll tell you why. Because
Yeah.
finding what to focus on, very difficult, because you're all already being captured by a lot of attention grabbing things out there. You're always constantly being confused by a lot of people. So it's very difficult to take a stance on anything. That is one. And the second thing is, let us say you have done that, and then doubts still keep going forward, and you don't really stick with it, right?
Yeah.
How do you overcome this? What's your advice out there to overcome these two things? Yeah.
So through this journey, right? I mean, and not just the journey that started with you, even before that, right? I mean, I
Yes.
did my computer engineering, then I went into fashion because I always loved design, right?
Yes.
From shifting, from that point to UX design, right?
Hmm.
Uh, And then when I was in your mentorship program, right? Then the recession, the sort of
Hmm.
recession hit, right? And the jobs weren't there, so like bad timing, right? And
Correct.
applying for jobs, and then not hearing back, right? Doing assignments with all that I had, right? And not
Hmm.
hearing back, right?
Correct.
It obviously multiple times it took a toll. It was not like, it was a journey, it was a big roller coaster journey.
Yep.
But like I said,
Yep.
I think I just wanted to make this at any cost. And I had singular focus, that I am not going to let anything empower me, right? And think, oh my god, this is not working out, that is not working out. Because I know that if I am doing my best, something will work out, and someday it will work out, and then it will work out for my best. So that was
Yep.
my attitude always. And then whatever happened, yeah, you'll have a bad day, you'll have a bad couple of hours, probably a week also, right? But you'll get back.
Yes. So basically, you're like temporarily or in the short term, you might be having a bad day, you might have some bad time, things might not be working out for you. But there is one thing which you always trusted in yourself is whatever effort which I'm sincerely putting. You said sincerity is your fundamental quality. It is going to manifest one day and it's going to help me out. And I think you've
Yeah.
been a living proof for that, Shefali. I think now that whatever story has happened, I think you have been a living proof for that. And I think you people should absolutely listen this when it comes from the mouth of Shefali, because I was amazed by the amount of commitment she had. Right, like as she's literally saying that like, there were very bad times. Like everything was very doubtful, and things were trying to like things were falling apart. Nothing is really working out. She gets an offer somewhere, but that offer doesn't work out, and no offers coming after that, and no leads converting. Like, most of you might also been facing these things, right? But I never saw her really give up on anything. I'm like, no, this is what I've committed. I'm going to take it forward, and I'm going to make it happen. And one day, when it actually works out, it's going to really work out very well, right?
Yeah.
So,
Because
yes,
also, Anudeep,
hmm,
when you're in this process, right? And
yeah,
when I'm doing my bit, okay, so what's the worst that will happen, right? Okay, fine, result won't come today, right? Result will come eventually. But at least I'm learning on the way, right? So I remember I saw this interview of Farhan Akhtar a long time back,
hmm,
and
hmm,
so the interviewer was asking him that, why did you start so late in your acting journey, right? So he said, no, I was just sitting at my home for 10 years and watching movies, right? And but that watching movies, he gained all that knowledge, right, which he's imparting now, right? So whatever we are doing, at least the least we can do is we can learn from that and take it with
absolutely.
us, and then just, yeah, be like a
Absolutely.
supernova
So
tomorrow.
I related to um, training AI models. That's what I related to these days. Like we used to be so enthusiastic to learn because previously people were like, there was no example to prove to people on why they should be enthusiastic. But now we have AI models to tell us back to humans. You train your model very well, it will behave very well. It will be very useful, it will be very powerful. So think of your brain as a model, right? Think of your brain as an AI model, like not AI, the actual intelligence, the not the artificial intelligence, the actual intelligence model, and keep
Yeah,
training it, right? So
yeah,
the good part is all the downs, all the things which you have, all the experiences which you'll have, like getting rejections or probably things not working out, any of these things, or probably everyone else probably stopping to trust or stopping their groups, or like nobody else doing some volunteering or whatever, like all of these things, the moment you translate them from, hey, you know what, will I get a job directly from this, to what am I learning out of this through which I can build myself as a person, the moment you translate it to that, that's it. You can always
exactly.
do wonders out of it. You'll always be able to create value from it. Find a place that will actually
Yeah,
go and take this value out of you and really value you back. Right? Awesome. So, okay, so Shefali, so let's actually talk about some of your initial years in your career, right? I mean, you said you studied computer science. So, why don't you tell some of the things which have happened in the backstory, right? I mean, the whatever you have studied, and then how did you get into fashion design, and what is this fashion design startup which you did, and what did you do for that 6 years? So, why don't you tell us some part of the story?
Sure. So, like I said, I was a pretty sincere kid, but also the backbencher, right? So there was basically the studious part and the creative part kind of trying to work together. So,
Hmm.
like a no-brainer, I mean, all Indian parents want their people, children to be doctors and engineers. So
Correct.
everybody thought that engineering was a good thing, and that time computer engineering was the thing to go to,
Yeah,
right? So, I mean, I
absolutely.
cracked a couple of things, and then yeah. So I
Hmm.
went into computer engineering. I did my best there, right? But I always knew that I'm not going to stay here because I mean my
Hmm.
heart just didn't. I got things, I did well, but the thing is my heart was not there, right? So I
Yep.
always wanted to get into designing, and so I was always interested in fashion, and fashion also like the kind of path breaking fashion that designers of that time, of the 90s were doing, like really
Hmm.
groundbreaking kind of messaging that they were sending across to society.
Correct.
So
Correct.
I wanted to get into that kind of stuff. So then I finished my computer engineering, got a really good job in US, and I left
Oh,
that
oh
because
oh. Where did you study computer engineering?
so it was a transfer program, and I did my computer engineering from North Dakota State University, which is in US. So I was there for three
Oh,
years.
oh,
Yeah,
you studied
yeah.
in the
Then
US. Oh, I didn't know this. Okay,
yeah.
okay.
So I was there for three and a half years. I was there. Yeah.
And you got a job
So
there, and you left it.
yeah, I got a starting job. This was 2008, and I got a job for $60,000 per annum. So it was a pretty decent, fresher job to get. And
Okay.
but at the same time, I got there was a brand called Abercrombie and Fitch in America, and I got a salesperson job there. And I was more
Okay.
excited about that job, which paid me like $9 an hour. So I knew that okay, something is not fitting, right? So I was
Correct.
not excited about the engineering job. So anyway,
Got
so
it.
yeah, I came back to India and I pursued my post graduation in fashion design from Pearl Academy. And after that,
Ah,
I did yeah. So fashion design I really kind of
no,
sang
Sebastian.
well in.
What this decision is not making sense. So please elaborate it for us.
It did, it did make sense to everybody. It caused a lot of ripples. So yeah, nobody.
Yeah,
It wasn't.
I mean, it made sense
Yeah.
now, but like what are the
Yeah.
factors contributing to such a decision? Like if you are like if someone else is about to take such a decision, what would you tell them? Yeah.
Now I would say get a couple of years of job experience and then probably make that shift, which everybody told me at that point. But we're young and stubborn, so you do take these decisions. But again, like I kept learning, and I had a wonderful time studying in fashion. And
Hmm.
after that, I went on to work with a couple of big names, and I did very well there. So I think one thing that was always there was that I was always appreciated wherever I went. So that kind of got me, an understanding that whatever I'm doing, I do bring value to,
Correct.
places, right? So after that, I always wanted to have my own brand. Like I told you that my inspiration was the 90s designer, creating ripples in the market, culturally, socially, right? So I wanted to do things like that. And I started my own startup, which was a very good journey. I think very early on in my startup, I started getting a lot of like, big clients, big stores. And very, very quickly, I think a matter of 6 months, I started working with about 12 top designer stores across the country. So stuff
Oh,
was going, coming back, yeah, it just blew. And it was really amazing. And then I went on to do a fashion show. I was also published in HT City for that. And so things were like really good. I also went ahead, and I opened my own store in Delhi. There's a very famous market, fashion market called Shahpujat. So I opened my store there, and I was doing business, and I was, it was good, right? Um, but then when COVID hit, right? So it just gave me everything was just quiet, right? And then just sitting at home, I just realized that okay, as much as I was enjoying this, and because I really committed to this
hmm,
transformation in my career,
hmm,
right? It really I miss that cerebral thinking because unfortunately the Indian
got it.
market, and you got to deal with the everyday, in and out of business, right?
Hmm.
Making the ends meet, making money, paying salaries. I had like 14 people working under me at a point, so I had like with the
Yes.
rents and everything. So I had to like pay and all. So yeah, I mean thinking about all of that, I felt that the cerebral thinking and that love for creativity had actually kind of gone somewhere was missing in my current profession. And COVID
Ah,
was there, so things were shut down. So I just came across growth school, and then I came across Sapta's class first. It was a 2 week course, and I enrolled into that. I thought, acha, okay, so this is Figma. From there, I got to know about you, and then I already loved what I was doing, and I thought it was like a perfect match of technical ability that I had, and then the creativity that I had, and while running my business, I had already understood the product thinking, right, the in and out of how to get. I mean, the product can change, like you always said, right, and like
correct,
we keep thinking that AI will take our jobs, right? So the product will change, right, but the thinking will always remain, right?
correct,
So
correct.
so that was a great marriage, and I joined your course, and then that's it. There was no looking back for me. I absolutely love it. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. 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 This is really interesting. See, one thing which really stood out from your journey um, is how you always validated yourself. So you basically said, hey, you know what? I was doing this computer engineering, and then I got a job, and then you didn't stop there. You said like I was actually doing good. That was a good, well-paying job. I understood that I can
Yeah.
create value, and then you are like you went and what was that? Sales something, right? You into that, and then you said like there
Yeah.
also people were like appreciating you, and then you were into fashion space, and then things were working out very well, and there also like every space you went in, you actually validated yourself, and this is something which is really, really, really important. While a lot of us are really stuck in the modesty which overpowers us and makes us underconfident at times, it is very important for us to really put that aside and see for ourselves what is really working out for us, right? This is one very, very important skill, I'm telling you. If you don't stop and look at yourself and see what is that which is working out for you, what is that which is being appreciated, or it might come in terms of like business impact, or people might appreciate, or you feel fulfilled, or things might working out and like you are very active. In any way it can actually come, but it is very important for you to take those signals and tell yourself, hey, you know what, I am good, I am valuable, I think I can
Yeah.
impact businesses and I can create value. This is great. Yes, I want to do more. I don't think this is enough. I like what's what you said. Like this is not enough for my cerebral thinking. Like that's it, that's the I'm hearing this word for the first time. I'm like, okay. I'm like, no, this is not challenging enough for me, right? I need
Yeah.
really, really something which is very challenging, and something which can even more fundamentally build out of like any of these situations can happen. COVID and all this can happen, and I don't want to really get into all that stuff. So probably I want to build myself in an independent manner. She took all those learnings and also said like, hey, you know what? But that doesn't mean I'm stopping to trust myself. If I could
Yeah.
do all this as a computer engineer transitioning to fashion design and do so well over there, all it means is I'm an extremely capable person and always have the willingness to learn. So obviously I will be able to crack it. And I think that's exactly the way all of us should really think. That is really, really inspiring, Shefali. And I've always found that in you. And there's one thing, what I know from multiple other people who are talking about you is like one thing we learn from Shefali is to be that confident person. Like she's very confident, right? So that's very inspiring, Shefali. Okay, so let's talk about one more thing before we actually talk about what did you do to learn UX design and all the stuff which we did, when we were into the mentoring and all that stuff. Before that, what are some of the learnings from your entrepreneurial journey? Like anything which you have learned significantly from running a startup? Please do share with us.
I think the most important thing is always give 100% quality in whatever you're doing, right? Whatever your product is, the quality needs to be there. Also, patience and understanding, right? Because as a creative person,
Hmm.
we always think our ideas are really good, right? But as we've studied in UX and we learn every day that it is actually the user's user's impression of what you are building or you have on the table, right, which actually matters, because at the end of the day the numbers matter, the business matters, right?
Correct.
So you have to be very open to adapting to what the user's feedback is, right?
Mm-hmm.
And as a in a startup, yeah, sometimes I might actually just not agree with what the customer would tell me, but my job as a business owner is to just give what they want to give, while balancing it with the quality and the creativity, right, which I bring to the table, so the
Do you have any
customer
story?
actually gets what they
Recall any story which happened at that point of time? No pressure though, if at all you recall.
lots. No, lots of stories. Like
Okay.
I'll take this one. I have lots of stories, but yeah, this one story I'll take. So this woman, she was around
Okay.
79 years old, and she
Uh-huh.
had a marriage in the family, right? And
Okay.
I would not usually take on like incoming like inbound clients, because I was working with stores and all. But
Uh,
she used to visit my workshop a lot and all. She got to know about it from somewhere, and she
okay.
came to me and she just saw that our samples used to be hanging and all. And she told me that this is, I have a wedding in my family, and you design really well, and I she wanted that to be made out of her mother's sari. And that mother's sari was like 50, she was 79, so like it was like 50, 60 years old. It had patches, and it was torn from places, but it was a heritage piece, right? And now huge pressure,
Yes.
because it's a heritage piece from somebody's mother, and I mean, so but we had to like do something with it. And I had to like, I really thought, okay, this is a special thing that I'm doing for somebody, and again, this is emotional design, right? Because this would really impact that woman, right, on a very emotional level, right? And
Hmm.
I made her a dress, and she was like, she really wanted to go out there. She was like, I don't care about my age, I just want to really dress up in a very nice dress. So we made an Indian outfit, which was like very modern and very cutting edge kind of. And she really loved it. She rocked it. Her daughter called me, and she thanked me that my mom was so happy, and everybody gave her compliments, and it was a mother's sari and all that. So this was I that sari was not a fabric that I would have probably chosen to begin with, right? So now, me as a
Hmm.
creative person, I that was my constraint, right? I had something which I had to
Yes.
work with, right? But then I could get the beauty that I could put in it, and and make this customer happy, and
Hmm.
these are the stories that you remember. We can say ki Arey, this we're getting, these customers are not understanding what we want to do, but when you really make that kind of impact, no, these stories stay with you. So yeah,
Absolutely.
just
Absolutely.
one more.
I mean, of course. I mean, there are times where you will have to make some compromises. We'll talk about that separately, but
Yeah.
the importance of really taking taking some of the compromises from our side and saying that, hey, what, what is really design? Like ultimately, what is really design, right? If you have actually pull it back to being an experienced designer, right? Now, this basic,
Yeah.
because whatever you told me makes me remember some of the things which we generally struggle with, and a lot of designers really struggle with this, right? What is really design? Is design really about bringing those perfect components, perfect screens, perfect stuff out there, and perfect UX processes, right? Following like a very rigid and proper UX process, doing research for every project. Is that what design is? Or is it about actually creating an experience, right? Because UX, user
Yeah.
experience, the job itself is to create an
Yeah.
experience. So when you have to create an experience,
Yeah.
experience is defined with emotions. If you remove emotions
Yeah.
out of the game, users are not having an experience. Users are just using a product. They're not having any experience with it. So emotions are really, really, really so important when you use the word emotional design, right? What is that you're doing so that your users can have very good emotions and through that have an experience? This is one of the most important learnings which you need to have as a UX designer. I mean, without having this understanding,
Yeah.
you're not even a UX design, to be frank, right? And I think if I relate this story to that, I think it's a wonderful example of how someone reminded you that maybe it was not a perfect material, maybe it's something which you have never done in the past. These are not the standard things, or it might not even help you in your portfolio because you'll have to work with stores and it's not scalable.
Yeah.
But there's one thing I learned from this, that is, what are the emotions which I'm actually designing for? And do I have the ability
Yes.
to do the emotional design? So it's an amazing story. Thank you very much for sharing that, Shefali. I think it also reminds myself of some of the very important things which I keep doing as a designer, as a design mentor, as a content creator. It is very, very important that I make sure that the emotional design aspect of whatever I am trying to deliver needs to be well taken care of if I have to be proud as an experienced designer, right? So,
Yeah.
and you know what, Shefali, this is one thing which goes forward as well. Like, as we were discussing, and we were always discussing about this previously as well, tools will change, new tools will come, new mediums will come, and that is already happening, right? And it's so beautiful it's happening now,
Right.
right? But
Yeah.
one thing which will always stay is humans will have experiences.
Yeah.
People are so scared about AI taking away their jobs. But as a user experience designer, that should be least of your worries because you are a person, you are designing experiences to users. Users will always have experiences. That's what humans do.
Yeah.
So it's always going to go
Yeah.
forward. So very nice, very nice. So this is a nice story. Yeah. So Shefali, so now like what made you think about now you like you gave the entire story, like then COVID hit, then I was like, okay, let me do this course, that course and stuff like that. But what made you commit that you might be good at UX? Like what actually made you take that decision? Because a lot of my audience are also those people who want to take such decisions. Like, hey, is UX really for me? Is it not? Is it just going to die down in a few years, or probably, or is it too late? Or I don't know. Should I do it for the money? Should I not do it for the money? A lot of questions, right? So you tell your story. How did you experiment with UX, and how did you take the commitment in the end? Yeah,
I think from like you remember the first project that we did was design thinking project, right?
yeah, yeah,
And that was the very beginning, like January, right?
yeah,
January
yeah.
to March, I think we did. And
January
so
2023.
that particular project, no, only it kind of set my foundation. It bought all the experience that I had from my previous, life, basically, right? And it kind of, made me understand that okay, this is what I'm good at. I already knew that, okay, alag, different. I knew okay, these are my skills, right? But that those couple of months, 2 3 months, made me realize that I have a very good product thinking mind, right? So
So for
I know how to
to
think.
people,
Yeah.
so what we do as a part of the program is in initial stages of the program, we don't even touch a single UI screen. Though a lot of people generally say, hey, you know what, are you even a design course when you don't even introduce a screen, a UI design screen for 2 to 3 months? Why are you just wasting people's time? I know so much about how much utilization of their time I'm doing in their entire life, right? So the
Yes.
context is we work on physical product design. We all work on creating some product for some place of your house. So what was the place of your the house which you worked for, Shefali?
I got the bathroom and I
Bathroom.
created this shark egg. Yeah. Intelligent shark egg I created. Yeah.
Nice, nice. Yeah, so that's the
Yeah.
context. Well, okay, fine. Yeah. So, yes, you're talking about how this project has made you think. Yeah,
Yeah. So I understood that, not that I was just good at that, I also enjoyed it a lot, right?
correct.
And like you said that, I was starting with Figma, right? And we weren't even touching UI for a, couple of months,
Yes,
right, to begin with. And
yes.
I was never worried about, the Figma part because I was like, okay, okay, this is a skill that anyways I'm here to learn, right? That I
Correct.
will learn and that I will excel in because what I'll have to do hard work, right? It is a physical platform interface. So I'll learn whatever there is to learn, right? But I was more excited about the thinking behind things,
Correct.
right? And I think that is something which makes me very confident in my life with everything that I'm doing right now. Because, like you said, the tools will change, the interfaces will change, right?
Absolutely.
But this product thinking we'll have to do for everything, right? If that thinking is in place, then are you hearing there's some fan noise, right?
That's fine. That's fine. That's fine. You can still go ahead. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, so that thinking is the basis of everything. How am I supposed to design a product if I don't even understand the product, right? Everything that we talk about, the research, the ideation, the iterations, etc., right? I mean, that is all, that you need to first understand the product, and then you go out and then you create an interface or whatever the product is actually, right? So yeah, that it was really helpful. While I know people think that, you're not actually doing the tool, and you're not learning, but I think that was very important part of the
Thank you for reminding
yeah.
that. I'm thank you for reinforcing that as well. And this is something which I would love to tell anyone who is learning design. And this is only going to become more truer as time is going forward. If you're starting out in UX design, first learn design. Before you go and touch a screen, learn about what design is, how is it that designers think, right? I'm purposefully not using the word design thinking, though that's what it is. But because with the moment we
Yeah.
say design thinking, people just think like, oh yeah, I know that five things in that framework. Like, no, we're not talking about a formula here.
Yeah.
What we're talking about is, see, you don't become a UX designer, that you don't become that person who is a UX designer without becoming the person who is a designer, who thinks like a designer, right? It's not possible, right? You can't artificially convince a company out there to hire you and say, hey, you know what, I am an amazing designer, by showing a bunch of screens. Not possible, because your screens are only an entry pass, gate pass. Okay, oh, probably this person can make some results. But what gets selected is you, the person who is the designer, the practitioner, who can keep churning out these ideas, who can keep thinking like this and work as a person, right? So the first and foremost, most important thing is to go and become this person who can think like a designer. And the hack for doing this is to purposefully put screens out of the game, at least in the initial stages, while you are learning, and then a lot of thoughts will come out. Because everywhere you look at, there is a lot of content about making screens. There are a lot of Figma plugins, a lot of tools, this, that, so much is there. The reason why we need to really silence ourselves out from all that stuff and focus on something like doing physical design without having any digital angle to it, is that that is when you will really push out all this and only focus on yourself and your skills, right? Or else you're only allowing a lot of distractions to completely confuse you. And let me tell you,
Yeah.
once this happens for a couple of months, it is so important that this will actually build your fundamental skills so much that you'll start believing yourself. You'll start believing that, what, I can design. In spite of all the things
Yeah.
which are there out there, all the internet, everything which is confusing me, I can myself design, right? This is a
Yeah.
very important advice to all the designers out there, and this will really build you as a very valuable person,
Yeah.
right? Thank you very much for that reminder, right? So Shefali, okay, let's actually take things even forward. What, like if you had to tell some stories about how did you learn? Of course, I mean there were, of course, I know, like we were working on a bunch of projects and a lot of assignments and all that stuff. What was your approach to learning? And probably what will help is, how did you plan stuff around? Like, what is the mentality and how did you plan stuff around so that you are committed to learning?
Plan stuff. I think
Hmm.
I I think I've realized this, that they say that India mein there's roads pe there's a lot of chaos, right?
Okay.
But we have our own we have our like own order in that chaos, right? So I like so as many things as I think most creative people would agree that there at any given point of time there are 1000 ideas in our head, right? But the thing is that I realize that that I need that order, right? And for that order I have purposely intently become a very organized person, right?
Mhm.
So just writing things down, planning my day, planning the tasks that I have, so I
Okay.
don't miss out on anything. And it's
Did
actually
you
it's
actually
just like
sit
why I
and
feel
prioritize what you need to do that day? Like, was that something which you were regularly
I
doing?
I do that every day, Anudeep.
Even
Even
now.
today in my job, I do that every day. It really keeps me on my feet. I don't miss out on anything because I have all my notes going. So it's basically I'm wireframing my life. So I'm wireframing every day. I'm just
That's
writing down. Okay, these are
this is a really
yeah,
wonderful analogy. This is really good. Wireframing your
Yeah.
life. Oh wow.
Yeah, because it's all internal test, right?
This is a
Yeah,
beautiful
so
thought.
I
This is a beautiful thought. Yeah.
yeah, so I
Why don't
always like keep
you
jotting things
sketch out
down.
some of the dreams you have, and then they'll happen.
Yeah,
Wonderful.
yeah, you're manifesting, right? You're writing it all down, like, yeah.
Now it's making me think like, okay, yeah, like I was like, I plan things, but then now the moment you said you're wireframing your life, now I realize the importance of writing things down, right? Because like, I also have this common practice. Like I whatever I write, I keep drawing a lot of circles. Like probably you might not see what it is, but I
Yeah,
keep putting things down by like doing a lot of circles and putting like things because I know like your brain is not doesn't think linearly, right? To start with, so keep dumping things, and a lot of clarity comes out of these kind of exercises, right?
exactly.
And now,
Yes.
man, this is wireframes of my life, man. I mean, this is so crazy. Wow. Yeah, yeah, great. By the way, that's a future business model of what I'm going to get into. That's another thing.
Peak,
It will
peak.
manifest. Yeah.
Yeah, and you just told about that, drawing circles and all.
Hmm.
So people keep asking me, why don't you use like digital, like platforms, right? And use a notes on MacBook or something, right? I'm like, no, it does not do the job that this doodling does on my diary, And I need to have like those different pens, to just outline and do this, create this hierarchy of jobs, that I'm supposed to do every day, right? So yeah, it's very helpful.
Yes, I keep discussing this with Charan as well, right? So we like sometimes we talk about, hey, should we put it on? So he has this S Pen and he keeps things on his, and then we talk about this, and I'm like, see, it doesn't matter what finally comes out of the paper because what this exercise is going to help me sort out my brain.
Yes,
The clarity comes here, not here,
exactly. Yeah.
right? So that's
It's
a
just to organize your thoughts, organize that chaos. Yeah.
yes, yes. This is really insightful, Shefali. Okay, so out of the things, I mean, obviously, we were working on a bunch of assignments, a lot of these UX behind UIs, and some of the lot of principles and a lot of debates and a bunch of workbooks. I want to talk about things which like what really stood out for you, like what did you focus on, right, while you were trying to teach yourself design doing those projects? What did you focus on and how would you practice stuff?
Um, I think, like continuing on the design thinking line,
Okay.
right?
Hmm.
In every project, I think my main focus used to be to first understand the problem statement.
Okay.
First, understand the impact that we were trying to make, right? Because that story had to build in my head, and
Hmm.
only then would I want to approach the wireframes. And sometimes, when we were working in groups and we were doing the hackathons, right? People like my teammates, and other people, they would be like far ahead. They've done the wireframes and they've like started with the initial UI as well, right? And I'm like just like, oh my god, I'm still ideating, right? And I'm still like just building the business metrics, and all that.
Hmm.
But
Hmm.
just spending that initial time there, right? It helped me, do the rest of the project like so quickly, right? So. I think that's very important, and I learned that in every project that we did, every project, every hackathon, even in the volunteering, even when we made that last the group, the Spellbinders group, even there, how to build that group, how to hire people in it, what would be our motto, all that was like my design thinking happening. Yeah, so
Absolutely.
that was I think very important.
I because if I also recollect all these things, I mean, um we used to talk so much about pausing and understanding the problem because
Yeah.
see ultimately if you're doing design doing design for a business has business goals and you deliver and that's how you create value and they value back in return, that's how they pay, right? But if the first thing you don't do is understand the business, or in other words empathize the business and understand what is trying to be solved over there, it doesn't work, right? Often we are like just these actually comes from our schooling, right? we're just so used to that competitive things that we just want to get very quickly onto answering those questions without even reading those questions very well, right? We need to finish off everything in that 3 hours of examination and score 100 out of 100, right? I think this is where it comes. And some of the good teachers always used to say, like, hey, wait. Before the 3 hours started, I'll give you the question paper, read it for
Yeah.
15 minutes, don't start answering, understand
Yeah.
what is being asked, right? And then that's when
Yeah.
you start answering your question. And I think that is something which is really important. Thank you very much for that reminder. I think pausing and really understanding the problem very well. And I remember some of these things, Shefali, I remember some of in the projects. Yeah, sorry, my son is. Uh, anyway, so I remember some of these things. What happened? Like, you were like these precise incident. Like, people are just started making some screens, doing that, and I'm still really thinking a lot about this product and stuff like that. And then, we used to talk about how important it is to really stay and understand the problem and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And it really paid off. Like, I mean, Shafali's project has been one of the best projects out there, and people really admired it later because how the amount of clarity she brought in the project she actually did. And that's actually, why don't you talk about it, Shafali, and then I'll tell you what is the lesson over here, right?
The Azure project, right?
Yes, yeah. The final project which you did, right? I mean, the Agio. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. uh, and so I picked, known industry, right? I picked
Hmm.
e-commerce, and I knew that I'm going to just love the research part on it also of it
Correct.
also, right?
Correct.
So yeah, I mean, I just head into it, and it was again a hackathon, right? It was a 2 day hackathon that we had, and
Correct.
then we had time to write the case study on it. So I think we had a week to write the case study, which was another like different groundbreaking kind of case study that we indulged in and we wrote, right?
Correct.
So yeah, I mean, I had a lot of fun doing that project. Again, spent a lot of time understanding the problem, and then very quickly went on to the screens, and then yeah, I remember now. It's been a while since I've spent
Yeah.
time
Yeah.
doing this. Yeah.
1.5
So
years back. This
yeah,
one.
walk down memory lane. And yeah,
Yeah.
I remember, the components that I used in this. I was so excited to build this design library, and again, I was not thinking, that it's a 2 day thing. I mean, I did finish in 2 days, but I just wanted to give my best in this project. All that I had learned with you, all the components, the research with the ideation, I just wanted to pour it all in.
Yes. I mean, I remember reviewing. I think that this video also became a big hit. You remember this video?
Yeah,
I don't know.
yeah, yeah. Oh,
So, firstly,
yeah.
congratulations on completing this project and there in volunteering.
I was thinking, like, if I wouldn't have done the volunteering, probably I wouldn't have had the guts to actually take so many chances in my PDC. So
Wow.
I'm like,
And this was when? This is almost 1 year back, right?
yeah,
Yes, and all the insightful discussions we had about
yeah,
this. So, the amazing video. I think so. This is one video which is there on my YouTube channel for all the people who are curious. So, this was Shefali's portfolio project that really worked very well for her entire portfolio initially. So, it's a detailed discussion. It has an entire video of her showcasing her project, and then the whole discussion about the review which I gave, and the entire discussion we had debating about a bunch of things which she has done. So it's a very insightful video you guys can watch, right? So
yeah,
coming back, yes. So the reason I was sharing this, Shefali, mainly to focus on that one point where how understanding the problem statement, right? How is it that because people clearly could see that, right? The amount of depth you had in understanding the space
yeah.
was really solid. So why don't you give us some tips on how do I understand the problem, how do I pause and then understand the problem very well? So give us some tips over here, like, or probably how would you do it now, right? take some example of any project or anything and just tell us how would you approach pausing. The word pausing is very important here. Pause and understand the problem very well before getting to start writing on the answer sheet.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
So I think I'll bring AI into this, Anavi.
Huh.
We were even a year back.
Huh.
I think I was very extensively using ChatGPT, and you always encouraged us to use all the AI tools that we could, right? And till date, I now I use it even more, right? But I think when I'm beginning to understand a project, and or whenever some new, even today in my job, right, a new feature is coming in, or a new project is coming on, right, I would not take that first step. So there is that pause that comes in. I want to be very quick, right?
Hmm.
So I want to quickly understand things, I quickly want to start ideating, but intentionally, I take that pause, and I tell my brain, okay, first you will work, right? So first is my own ideation, my own, I take my time to understand that, whatever we're trying to do, I hear, everybody out, right? Everybody's what, ideas people have, and I try to build my own understanding. That is like the most traditional way of doing that. I give my own brain a chance to actually,
Hmm.
pause and just like first create a story around it. Then
Correct.
I go on to research. So then, because when I'm going into a research, I'm doing whether traditional or chat GPT or any other, right?
Hmm.
Even visual research, right? So like you said, there's so much external stuff out there, right? That it is obviously going to influence us, right? So
Correct.
before that external influence starts, right? My thought is that at least first couple of minutes or hours, depending on the time that I have, I need to first ideate within myself,
Correct.
and
Initial
yeah, that
hypothesis.
is the yeah,
Absolutely. Yes, absolutely. I remember the number of times I was very, very stressing this point about where is the initial hypothesis? Forget all that. First, what is that
yeah,
you want to bring onto the table? This
yeah,
is
yeah.
very important. And you know what?
Yes,
That becomes a part of defining the problem. Because
yeah,
until you put your initial ideas onto the table, you will not really understand the problem, and that's why it is so important, right? I'm clearing a big misconception to a lot of people over here, right? When she's saying I want to understand the problem, then I will go to research and all that stuff. Don't misunderstand it as, oh, you know what, I'm going to stop doing anything about understanding the user or the journey or creating screens and stuff like that. That's not what she means. Putting your initial ideas probably as rough sketches or probably a bunch of screens and a bunch of stuff out there is a part of understanding the problem very well,
yeah,
right? Because you will see where are the actual, I call it as ambiguities, where are the ambiguities for you to go and gather information about, which is where your entire research will be based upon, right? Because until you do that, you will not really understand what the problem's heart is, right?
yeah,
So that's a very, very important hack for all of us. The moment a problem comes to you, put down your initial thoughts, start sketching, start wireframing your life, right? That's what he says. So
yeah,
start sketching out those initial ideas, dump those initial ideas, and then look at all then the ambiguities to be more clearer. Like, I mean, okay, oh, this I didn't understand. Okay, what is this? Oh, I think I didn't understand this. The answers to those will make you understand the problem even much better, right? So nice.
and
That's
I also
yes.
want to add, Anvi, that
Yeah,
when you do that internal ideation, right,
yeah,
and then when you put those things down on paper, and then when you go to research, right, you have a lot of validation also. You know where you
correct,
stand, right? How
correct,
many ideas did you actually come up with, right?
correct,
And as a designer or a professional, right, you understand your evolution in that particular profession, because acha, now I am, see, now this is my, my thought process has changed or evolved in this particular manner, right? So
correct,
a lot
correct.
of validation also, definitely, and knowing where you stand.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah.
Because there's one more misconception. People think that no, 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 no. Every time I start a project, I need to start with a blank slate. No, you don't.
Possible.
You are an experienced person for a reason. The bias is
Yeah.
important. The business wants your bias. That's why they hired you. Or else they would have hired some
Yeah.
AI bots, which they do for roles which require that, right? But or else they hired you for your experience. Let me tell you guys, a lot of us are so worried about not having bias. Bias is good. Experience is a good bias.
Yeah.
It is good when you know how is it that you can put things forward and how is it that you will plan to validate it, right? So that it will cause less risk to your business. But less risk to your business starts with you betting on something to start with. and and a business
Yeah.
always wants you to start with a bet, right? So don't think that you should not bring in any of your bias to start with and then you are like coming with a completely blank slate. It's not going to work. You're not going to bring in any value, right? And this is where validation comes from, right? You put in those initial ideas, that's when you know how much you grew as a person, right? That's when your model that you have trained, the actual intelligence model which you have trained, that really seems to start working, right? This is like chat gpt's normal answer. First it gives you an answer and then you go and tell chat gpt, okay chat gpt, thank you very much, now please validate yourself, bring in some research. And then chat gpt like, okay, browsing the web, doing some articles and stuff like that, and then it gets some articles. So
Yeah, exactly.
so start off with start off with what ChatGPT does. Oh, ma. Okay. Ah, start off with what ChatGPT does, right? Put your initial hypothesis out there and then go back, use another prompt to your brain. I think I should stop laughing. But yes, so good. Yeah. Go ahead, continue, Shefali. Then actually talk about now how do you balance your time, because that was one of the very important things we also continuously kept discussing, right? Time is how we take compromises. Time is what dictates everything.
Yeah.
Because I love to understand problem very well doesn't mean that you take infinite amount of time. Time is crucial in a
Yeah.
business. Time is what money is. Time is money. Time is value, right? So how do you take active compromises? Because one thing you stand for, create very good quality, right? That's what you always stand for. You have to be sincere. You have to always maintain that quality. With that comes a lot of OCD, which a lot of people struggle, right?
Yeah.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
And then there is time, right? So any story, anything which tells you about, probably you can talk about some of the recent projects or anything where how are you taking compromises so that you stay on track of your time and to stay predictable to the business, right?
Um, I think couple of
Is
things.
this become more like an interview for your next UX interview, or I hope. Yeah.
Yeah,
I can answer with that. I know I'm posing questions in a very intense manner, like a news anchor, but yeah, just be chill and you know, yeah,
no, no, I love like the good conversations like this. So yeah, good
yeah.
thought-provoking questions. So I think one first I will tell you that how I've prepared myself to manage my time. Right. One is the organization bit, which I intentionally do, right, so that I'm on top of things. Second, I think when I had the time, when when I was, in the mentorship program. Even after that, when we were waiting, to get calls back, get inbound offers, all that, right? I just kept at it and I really made myself very strong with the tool, right? So one thing, I'm very quick with the things that I do because
Correct.
as you mentioned OCD, but with the OCD there's a very big key of overachievement also, so I want to do more and more. Right? The more you give me, it's less, right? I want to do more things, involve myself in a lot of things and all. So with that, I have to be very skilled at what I'm doing, right? So I try to really keep at par with everything new that is coming up, the new updates which are coming up, and all of that, right? So that I can do the things that I want to do very quickly, as quickly as I can, right? Then I think second thing is that I don't have that mindset and that kind of attitude. Again, probably just got built with life, but I don't think that okay, these are like my working hours. Quality is most important for me, right? So if I know that this is what I'm supposed to do, this is the pace that I'm going to do it at, and if I would really want to do something that I want to do my way, right, or I want to bring this certain quality when time is not kind of on my side, then I would put in those extra hours probably at a night or a weekend, to achieve that, because that is important to me, right?
Correct. Correct.
And other than this, I think. just like working on projects, right? You overall become faster, when you're doing things with all the shiddat, it's like everything you've got, you've put in that time, you've put in that brain, right? So you eventually get faster. But now all of this done, that I want to do what I want to do, I'll put in the extra time and all. But still the reality is that there are times when you cannot put out, time is of essence, and you just can't put out things that you would probably want to do, right? And then you as a designer make make
Compromise.
those compromises and wait for V2 to happen, so that you can just bring those ideas in V2, and then have those developed there. Yeah.
Yes, yes. I mean, this is so beautifully put. I was actually noting it down as a framework as you're speaking, right? Because I think I'll make a new YouTube video out of this, right? Yes. People keep asking, right? I mean, how do I manage time for my project? How do I prioritize stuff for my project and stuff like that? And the first point you told is really, really interesting, right? Because I generally talk about taking compromises, and most of my students know it, and some of the students are actually watching this live. Also, no, Anudeep says, okay, how much ever has happened, but time is how you plan things. You stop right now, you move on, and stuff like that, right? That's the third point, right? Take those compromises and move on, right? It's very, very important because time dictates everything, right? But then comes the first point which you were told in this framework, that is improve your speed. As you keep
Exactly.
practicing, aim for
Yeah.
doing things very quickly. Like, don't sit, do things very slowly, late, and then in the last minute you say, no, no, time ho gaya. So, like, I mean, yeah, obviously, Andeep told, like, after time is over, like, just stop working. And I'm like, done. Like, this is like that,
Yeah.
like, I just want to work 9 to 5. And I mean, there's nothing wrong with 9 to 5, but then I'm like, you're just like, you see, like, I will not do anything, but 5 o'clock I'll leave.
Yeah.
Right? No, right? So instead, focus on efficiently working, right? How is it that you can always improve the speed of execution? Obviously,
Yeah.
with tremendous amount of practice, and that's where you give the hint. You're like, whether Andeep gives
Yeah.
this work, doesn't give this work, what I'll do is I'll keep doing tool skills practice. Take
Yeah.
something,
Exactly.
I'm damn sure, like, I've seen your assignments also, like a lot of replications, a lot of discussions about the screens, and even like if none of this, then volunteering work. I remember one of that thing you guys did. You made replications of a bunch of screens, and that assignment was there, no?
Yeah. That is again such a long time back.
Yeah,
I
yeah, yeah.
remember. It was so much fun.
That was, I think I need to bring that here, right? Some calm app
Yeah.
replication.
Yes.
I should share my screen,
And
right?
I remember, Nadeep, you had we had this volunteering WhatsApp group, and you had asked, all of us to rate ourselves, and everybody was like rating 7, 9, and I rated myself 6, and then I thought, oh my God, I think I'm the worst person over here.
Yeah, yeah.
How will I even make this
So
screen?
yeah, yeah. So some of these replications, the file was yeah, filled with a lot of Shefali's work. So yeah, so the what I'm
Yeah.
trying
So
to say is,
that.
hmm, right? So anyway, so what I'm trying to share, coming back to the learning which we had is, see, one thing you can always do is sit and improve your efficiency of work. That means the tools is where you can really become efficient, right? You can two things, two ideologies over here. Always use efficient methods to do something. You find an efficient tool, find some plugins, right? So always go and find an efficient method to do something. That's one way of improving efficiency. The second way of improving efficiency with tools is to practice a lot, right? You do it a lot.
Yeah.
You always, the easiest thing to practice tools is to replicate stuff. You see something which you
Yeah.
love, go and replicate it, right? Start replicating it and start
Yeah.
creating versions of it. Probably break it down into multiple components, create a component library out of it. That's it. Like, a simple replication can teach you a lot of stuff. We call this exercise popularly as UX behind UI, where we start
Yeah.
off with replicating UI screens, but then we realize about all the UX behind the entire UI screens which you see, and all the components and everything broken down, right? So this is a wonderful
Yeah.
exercise which you can always go back to. You don't have any, no one needs to give you any project, no problem statement, nothing. Like this
Yeah.
is what you're like by default. You don't know what to do. I'm in this section. I don't know what to do. I have to figure out something. I need some gratification. Yes, take this fidgeting tool. Go to Figma, take a screen, replicate it. Done. Right? So these are the two ways to become very efficient with tools. Always find efficient methods to do stuff, and always go and practice a lot, right? And this boils down back
Yeah.
to improving the efficiency, making yourself very, very fast, so that you can
Yeah.
easily manage your time, even if you are a perfectionist, right? Because the OCD doesn't go so easily. Like I can see very clearly now also. Like her first answer was not that compromise. Compromise is the third answer she gave.
Like we don't have to compromise, no?
Right? And the second answer she
Yeah.
gave before she said compromise is quality, quality, quality. I will not stop at 5, I will not stop at 6. Like I will not probably sleep, but I'll make
Yeah.
sure that quality comes out. Right? So the OCD never, it doesn't die. But
No.
OCD should be translated into value, right?
Yes.
When you do
Yes.
that, that's when things become very valuable. You totally enjoy the time which you have spent, and everything becomes a very transformational experience, right?
Yes.
So this is amazing, Shefali. I think I should do more of these sessions with you. I'll figure out more YouTube scripts, and I think I can make more YouTube videos, right? I live on the call. I'm noting down 3-point formula for becoming much better in doing your UX case study projects and managing your time for your portfolio. Yeah. So I have these 3 pointers with me. Yeah, wonderful. So yes. So tell me one thing. Thank you, Charan, for the hot water. So there is Charan here who keeps all the people who are live. Charan helps me a lot. He is a wannabe UX mentor. Uh, he works with me. So he initially started as a student, and thanks to all the effort which he puts in a lot of background work he does. So thank you so much, and other members of the team, which I'll slowly keep revealing as more episodes keep coming. Right? Thank you so much. Anyway, so yeah, thank you for the hot water. Okay, so going forward, Shefali, what I want to ask is so volunteering, right? Volunteering was one thing which was you were always ready. Like first, like I know, like the moment I put some message about volunteering, the first like is going to be from Shefali. The first DM is going to be from Shefali. It was like an established standard. She
Yeah.
replies as fast as even ChatGPT is thinking a lot these days, but Shefali's replies were like instant. Right? So anyway, my question to you is this, right? See, there are a lot of 20-year-olds who are generally very enthusiastic. We're like, yeah, chalo, let's do some volunteering, this and all stuff like that, right? Right? I don't know your age, but anyway, and then you are like, you've been an entrepreneur, you've done a bunch of things, and now you want to have a focused career. There's no time in your life compared to a lot of 20-year-olds who feel that there's no time in their life. That's an irony, but that's a different thing. We'll come back to that point
Yeah.
later, right? There is
Yeah.
almost no time. You have to make the things change happen. Only then, like your value lies, your financial stability, everything is dependent on that. All this is there in your mind, and then you were very objectively taking the decision to come and volunteer. You knew this is going to help, right?
Yeah.
And I'll give you more context also. What does this volunteering mean? So, a lot of stuff which I have basically, as a part of my mentorship program, right? Like I should say, we have more than 100 assignments and a lot of material, right? We have created a lot of material, then a lot of bunch of presentations, a lot of workshops, a lot of stuff. Like I mean, my program, we say that it takes 6 months, but it actually takes. It has never taken less than 10 months to any batch. I'm very proud about that, right? But there's a lot. There's a lot which students do to build themselves, right? And what Shefali has done is she has been one of the strongest pillars in building a lot of these workbooks, contributed to a bunch of these workbooks, contributed to a very, very important module that is about storytelling in writing case studies. With the effort she has actually put, she and her team have actually put, we have rewritten, redefined the way people tell stories in their case studies, right? I think we worked on it for around 1 month, I guess. I don't know. It was
Yeah.
like a lot of effort, right? This was not work on her portfolio. This was work on how is it that we can write better stories or case studies so that everyone's portfolios will really stand out and genuine real stories will come out and we can work on something which recruiters really focused on, right? So she has, like, that was like, she has helped so much that at one point we were like, I think it'll be uncomfortable if we don't pay her. Like, I even had message conversations with her, like, Shefali, I actually want to pay you. And it's very difficult to have that conversation, right? So anyway, so she was coming with so much commitment, and I knew she was an expert, right? She's bringing all her experience over here and all that stuff, right? Anyway, the question back to you, Shefali, after telling this context, is what made you be this enthusiastic and do something out of the way, right? And you had that clarity that this is going to help you, right? So what was going on? What was going on, right? Yeah, come on. Very big question.
Like
6 marks answer. Come on. Yeah.
again, again, I'll go back
Yeah.
to the point that uh, we just think that we want to become a UX designer, UI designer, product designer, and what do we need to learn? We need to learn Figma,
Mm,
right?
mm,
But the point is, like you always said, that you have to become that person, right? And I think I was very open, right? I
mm,
wanted to do everything that was coming my way because I knew one thing, I mean, I don't know how or why, but I was very sure that, everything that I'm going to do here is going to make me learn, right? So
mm,
I didn't think that, I'm going to evolve in the way that, okay, I'm going to go learn Figma or I'm going to particularly learn design thinking or learn how to make wireframes. I had no set model of, how this mentorship program is going to help me or what I will get out of that, right? I
mm,
mean, you did have like these pointers that what we'll achieve in the 6 month program that we would set on, but I never thought that this is what this is only that I'm going to do at 9 to 5 and then I close my laptop and I'm done. No, so I wanted to evolve, right? I wanted to do everything, and when I started doing, even from the very beginning, I realized the value. Like you talked about the US behind UI, right? I realized the value behind doing those screens because I was learning every time. Every time I was part of a volunteering program, I was learning and I was becoming better with each day, each week, right? So
yeah.
every time then you had a message, I was like, yes, look, like I'm there. I'm ready to do this, right? Because I knew, okay, I don't know kya hoga. I don't know what is going to come in with this particular volunteering project, but something I'm going to learn, right? And if nothing else, I'm going to learn, how to work with people, how to collaborate, how to get, things done in time, which are very important when you actually go out there and you're working, right? You're working for businesses. Now we
Yes.
come back to time, right? So that is what you learn, right? We had live sessions and we had to finish things up, right? So these things, you have to put things out there. So yeah, and that
See,
attitude, by the way, I'm even there
this
in
is
my
so.
job every day.
So
Yeah, so
sorry, what
it's
did you say?
I continue that in my job
Yeah, yeah,
also.
but I was about to say that.
I'm
This is so
yeah, I
natural
don't
to you.
come.
You're like, your answer was like, yeah, it was very obvious. I'm like, yeah, this is very enthusiastic. This is so obvious and natural to you, right? Let me tell you what she's actually telling. What she's telling is, guys, forget your age, become kids.
Yeah,
Become
yeah.
kids, be very enthusiastic, go take that ownership and participate, right? I'm telling you, that is the number one hireable quality about Shefali. Always has been, right? Well, that's what, like, I was like, probably I should pay her. Right? I'm like, because there's so much value, right? And the value is not just coming out of just the quality of work, it is actually coming out of the ownership. Because with all that enthusiasm, it was not just like, hey, I want to do things and then like you back off, right? No, like that entire ownership she brought in, right, in doing those things was where the real value was really coming out. And what really happened is when she was doing this, she always validated herself that, hey, you know what? I can go contribute and create value, right? I remember having this discussion, Shefali. One day we both were like discussing this, and then like, look at your story. At one point, you are like, hey, you know what? I'm doing this exercise. I am learning something. Now, on top of it, I'm making this exercise, and then 1,000 people will now work on it and become UX designers. Now, look at the validation you'll get for yourself.
Yeah.
Right? Compared to the validation you will have when you are working on exercise and you're able to do it well. But then
Yeah.
you built an exercise, and then 1,000 other people are using it and becoming good UX designers, right?
Yeah.
Look at the amount of validation, right? So,
Yeah.
like, she always brought in that childlike enthusiasm, and she knows that that is something which is going to be valuable, like, right? And let me tell you guys, I mean, like, probably, I don't know if we can ask her company people to join this call. I don't know if they're watching that live, probably they will too. I'm damn sure they'll agree. Dude, like, this person's enthusiasm is the one thing we hired her for. I don't know if that is, did they ever say that, or do you think this is true?
Yeah, I kind of keep hearing about my ownership and yeah, yeah, motivated attitude. And by the way, you gave me that dependable award, right? And I got another dependable award like just a week back.
Good, good. Yeah, yeah, now
Yeah,
I'm like, yeah, very obvious. Like, come on, yeah.
yeah.
Very nice, very nice.
But
So I,
I want to add something over here,
uh,
Anudeep. I want to add something. So, Jab, we were talking about the time, right? And how you make
yeah,
yourself more efficient, right? And
hmm,
then now this validation also, right? I've
yeah,
really kind of, started believing in this sort of a sci-fi kind of a, concept, right? That time is genuinely so relative, okay?
correct.
I I, I have these 24 hours in a day, right? But how I utilize this 24 hours in a day, makes my 24 hours so much, more than probably
More
somebody else
valuable.
or even my own other day, right? So it
Yep.
is that pace of working. It is that, like you said, I could have done that assignment and felt very good about myself. But then I just somehow went ahead in time, and I just jumped up by creating it for 1,000 others, right? And getting that validation. And immediately I was like, oh no, I'm not just doing it for myself. Now I can create things for other people as well. So
Absolute, absolute. This is this. I think like you should like Shefali, it's time. You should now start a course mentorship program only. Like the analogies that you are sharing now, like over. Okay, done.
I know my skills. I know which are not. Yeah.
No, sorry about that. Time. Of how efficiently we can utilize time. Are your 24 hours really those 24 hours, or are 24 hours really like, do they really actually feel like more than 24 hours because you're like
But
very efficient
yeah,
in that particular time, right?
yeah,
So that's a really like I'm actually noting down so many things, right? That's what I'm saying. Like, I think now it's time. Probably should start content creation. I think I've been asking this in every live video I get into. I just love my students so much. I mean, like, and some of the things which I will learn from them. I really feel that this message really needs to go out there, right? And you know what, Shefali, I was thinking, that, you know what? Obviously, I keep advertising a lot to the students because students are where where my business comes from, right? But now I'm realizing the advertisement should be to the companies, right? I'm like, guys, we are actually building people who are like very very enthusiastic, and we are actually building the people, the designers, right? This
yeah,
is the kind of people you'll get over here, right? So come here.
yeah, yeah.
Right?
Makes
With
sense.
like
Yeah.
such fundamental thought process, right? And people are like really strong. Yeah. So so proud. I'm really so proud. Okay, so let's take this story forward, right? So yes, you had an amazing time, and you built a portfolio and all that stuff. Now, come on, struggle, right? Days of struggle.
Yeah.
Please talk about that and what happened. How did you, survive those days of struggle? How did you keep continuing having your faith, right? So, what happened? First of all, tell us stories of what happened, right? So, yeah.
I So I have couple of stories because I think
Hmm.
after the project that we saw, right, the Agio project. So immediately I think I uploaded it, and within a day I had an inbound call from a recruiter. I told you about that. And I went to meet them for an interview and all, and they were like very excited. They were like, "Let's join," and and I was getting a pretty decent package there as well, right? But
Okay.
somehow the work that they did, and at that time I was at a place where I could have probably, according to a lot of people, should have taken whatever I was getting at that point, right? But I just thought about it, and I was not very excited about the work that they were doing. Again, I mean, I was, just a personal preference, probably, right? But I let that go, and I kind of very hesitantly, but believed that, no, I think something else will come. And
Hmm.
sometimes it can backfire, and it kind of did backfire, because then there were complete silence for 2 months, right? And then there was nothing. And there was a
It
time where
felt like backfire. It just felt like backfire.
hmm?
It
It felt like, yes, yes.
and
Obviously, the hindsight, yeah,
because I remember
yeah.
having that
So,
conversation on why finding a match takes time and you can wait. Like as I couldn't have
yeah,
probably told it to anyone else, but to Shefali I could like it will happen. Like you're very skilled, it will
yeah.
happen, no doubt. Right? Anyway, go ahead. Please go ahead. Yeah. Huh. Hmm.
So then there was this silence time for like 2-3 months, right? And
What,
at
okay,
that
let's pause
point,
at the silence time because most people are in that silence time. Okay, let's pause there.
yeah,
Describe
I
what
know,
was
yeah,
happening because it's
yeah,
mentally very difficult. That phase is really difficult mentally,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
So yes.
So I was applying every day, right? I remember, we as like all of us, like, was like together in your program. All of us, we like, made a plan ki, acha, every day we will get up, and for 2-3 hours we will spend on LinkedIn. We will keep applying for jobs. We will keep looking and all that, right? Now, initially, what I was doing was ki, I was being a little bit mindful, and I was reading about, the GDs, and the kind of companies there were and all. And then
Hmm.
very quickly it escalated to a lot of frustration, and I was like, "Arey, let's just, time is going by, this, that, and let's just keep applying." And then there was a time for, I think, 2-3 weeks where I mindlessly applied to every job that was there. I was not even reading the JDs. I was like, just keep hitting apply, 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 apply. And it also didn't do any good, right? I didn't even get a single call for an assignment, right? I mean, everybody keeps saying ki, companies are telling people ki, oh, do assignments. I didn't get anything, right? And then I took that pause. I was like, anyways, this is not helping, right? And by the way, meanwhile, while all this, chaotic, frustrating, times were going on, I was
Hmm.
working on my projects, right? So that bit, that didn't move, right? That I
Hmm.
was very sorted, because you have to somewhere set your base, right? There has to be some sense to your day, right? That, okay, this is something, again, and that validation, right? This is something productive that I'm doing. Yes, other things are not working out, but this one bit is in my hands, and this one bit
Correct.
will work out, because this depends on me, right? So I continued to work on my projects, do the volunteering, form groups, all of that was going on. But on the back end, what was going on was that nobody was calling back, and obviously I also I had a couple of interviews, but
Hmm.
I thought that, there was a lot of, especially because of my transition, right? And because of the number of years that I had already worked, right? So even people who are transitioning are usually like, 4 to 6 years into the job scene, right? But I was like about, 8 to 10 years into the job scene. So I
Correct.
think, I mean, I don't know, but my assumption
I
was
don't
that,
understand.
maybe people had
Yes.
a lot of,
Yes.
yeah,
Yes. Yes.
maybe there was a lot of
Great question, right? In fact,
resistance,
I remember one of the very early days. I think you even brought up this question, right? Does I am damn sure people are very much interested in hiring very freshers and like very young people. Why would I hire someone? Why would someone hire someone with a lot of baggage, right? And then I remember
yeah,
having this discussion, probably with you or I don't know, with someone in the community, and then we were talking like, we can always use it as an advantage, right? You can always take
Yeah.
all that experience and use it as an advantage on how you can perform
Yeah.
very well as a leader, right? You bring in the enthusiasm of a kid, and then you
Yeah.
bring the advantage of all the experience you have. Now you are more powerful
Yeah.
than the 20-year-old kid who is competing with you, right?
Yes.
And you're the perfect example of that. Nice. Yeah.
Yeah. No,
Yes.
and that all that volunteering and everything, no, that helped build this, confidence. Ki, okay, theek hai, things will work out. So
Yes.
had a couple of, so I obviously knew that,
To the
like
people who
people,
are
I
getting
could
it,
sense that.
if you are probably in your late 30s and 40s and you're like, can I transition to UX design right now? And how do I do it? The answer is very simple. See, you're thinking 20-year-olds is a competition. So what are 20-year-olds doing? Very enthusiastic, a lot of ownership and a lot of stuff. Like they just want to get in and do a lot of stuff. Do that. What does an experienced person do? Come with a lot of maturity, bring a lot of experience and think deep, like stop, pause, do that. Over.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
That's it.
Done.
Right?
No, no, but then you also have to, traverse at like twice the speed of light also to become very, very efficient. You've got to travel that distance.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And then add
Yeah.
efficiency to the equation. Yes. Right?
Yeah.
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 Yeah. This is nice. Efficiency becomes the factor. I think efficiency is E. I don't know. Like, what's the physics term? I think might be a bunch of people on the live who can tell.
Yeah. So what's the efficiency?
Yeah. Don't forget the E factor. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So
Go ahead.
anyway,
Yes.
so
Huh.
there
Huh.
was that low period, right? And I continued to just keep my head in the right space, and I
Hmm.
continued to work on the projects and continued to do the work because at least that was working out, right? And then things started again looking up, right? And on and off I would get projects, I would get assignments, right?
Hmm.
And I realized that the normal conversation around assignments used to be that it's a waste of time, right? I mean, why would you invest so much time and no companies are asking you to build assignments and they don't answer back and all that. And yeah, that is kind of it is very very I mean, demoralizing, right? Because
Yes.
you are really looking forward to you've done work, and you're really looking forward to at least hearing back, right? But again, I think these are all opportunities of learning, right? So
Hmm.
every assignment that I did, I again did it with all my heart, right? And
Yes.
I gave all everything that I had. I had one day, I had 2 days, depending on the time that I had. I did my best, and I had this bunch of assignments that I did. And no, I did not do like some 200 assignments, but I did like some 7 8 assignments. I know
Yes.
that those 7 8 assignments I did well, right? And then things started looking up, right? The market also started opening up a bit, so those things were like working hand in hand. And I now suddenly I had one offer from a particular company which was in a skincare kind of
Okay.
field. And then I had another thing working on for me, and then suddenly no Wizard comes in, and now Wizard came in with an assignment which I didn't even do for them. So now this is the importance of doing yeah of doing the things. You just do the things that you're doing well, right?
Ah, I so much
Vincent
want to.
Van Gogh says,
I
right?
said, told you so, right? You
Yeah,
can utilize assignments you have done in other places. They can work, right? Go show them
they do
first.
work.
Take a second assignment. Absolutely.
Yeah,
Yes, yes.
and so it reached this my current company, and it was a good assignment. And before I heard from anybody else, these people reached out, and then also I really believed, right? Because I kind of studied the people that they were, and it's a fantastic bunch of founders, with extensive experience. The kind of work they wanted to do was really amazing, and I
Okay,
really was excited about that. And
how
yeah,
did this lead happen? Like how did they contact you? Actually, I was purposefully
so
delaying that part so that you will only talk about the struggle part. You know what? Let's actually do
yeah,
that. Like let's because this is already going towards a success, but people really need to
okay,
understand the taste of the struggle before and getting the taste of the success, right? So
yeah.
so what was your emotional, like what was happening with your emotions, and how did you tell yourself to not actually go down with that emotion? before we talk about how
I
state things
mean,
would work, I have some insights there
yeah,
before I tell you, right? Because
yeah,
I don't want it to sound like luck, but it is actually purely consequential. And I'll explain how. But yeah,
no,
go ahead,
no, no.
please. What was happening with your emotions when things were not working out?
Lots of up and downs emotionally. I mean, you try to bring yourself up every day, but then,
Hmm.
not hearing back from people is just the last thing that you want, right? And then we, as a group, right, we had people, that I, as
Any
a,
personal life hacks? Did your dogs help you? Did your spouse help here? Like what? Like please, why don't you tell us some personal life hacks? Because obviously, when you're buried in that emotion, you can't really get out of it in that situation. You'll have to take some external help, right? I mean, at least that's what I
yeah,
do. But
I mean, definitely.
I mean,
There was a point I thought that, okay, let
important
me,
statement, right? Because at that time when you are stressed, you forget all these. You'll forget that
yeah,
you can probably go out and walk with your dog. You'll forget that you can probably call
yeah,
a friend and talk. Like, you actually forget
yeah.
all this. It feels irrelevant, right? So that's why I wanted to actually talk
Yeah.
about some of those things, right?
Yeah, I mean, you go in a cocoon, and you don't want to talk to people, right? You don't want to, after a point, you don't want to discuss it because it just feels like what good will discussion or, any of this bring, right? And I remember there was a point where I started looking at, different websites to, start freelancing, right? And I didn't want to get into the business side of it. That was a very big motivation, for me. Like I said, the, cerebral thinking and the, the creativity, right? I didn't want to get into a business setup at all. I had already tasted that, and I know the struggle of that, right? So I didn't want to do that. And I was like, I started looking at freelancing people. I started looking those insane amounts of money that, people were making monthly, like, just freelancing. And I thought, ठीक है यार, I mean, a job is not working out, maybe, my transition is, not going to work in that way. And maybe God and universe is telling me that, okay, let's go freelancing way, right? And, that's where, the family and, your support system, right? So
Yes.
you have to believe in yourself, right? I mean, ठीक है, you entertain this freelance thing also, right? But just keep applying, keep doing your best, and this your stuff is good, your validation, right? So this is where the thing comes in when you're continuously doing things. Now, if I would have gone in that cocoon, and if I would have stopped doing the assignments, stopped coming to calls, then I would have been very rejected, right? But I kept on doing that, so I kept getting some validations. I had family support, they kept telling me that be at it, ho jayega, and then it started happening, but it took time, and it was
And it is,
it really
and to the context of the people who are watching, it is not magical. It is not magical that it just happened. Let me tell you, the reason why you will be at it, and let me tell you this something which will really help you to think. See, when you're doing a project, when you're building your portfolio and stuff like that, you really need to think, does my work actually impact any company's business out there? Go and do this. It's a very easy thing to validate. If you see that there's some company out there, there's some business out there, they have a product, and you see that there are a bunch of designers who have contributed towards the product. And if you see that your work is very similar, you could have thought in a very similar manner, you would have come up with things in a very similar manner, you need to take this as a validation for yourself, saying that my work can impact a real business. So therefore, all I have to do is to wait and find for a good match. Wait in the sense, not wait and just sit and do nothing. I can be at it, and then the match will happen. When it happens, it will happen because I have it in me that I'm very valuable. It's just that I didn't meet that business which is yet to hire me. That
yeah,
conversation didn't happen. That's the only thing which is missing,
yeah,
right? It's just a reach problem. I reach enough,
yeah,
right? I expand my reach and reach enough, I'll find that match, right? That is the most important lesson, right? That's why I'm saying this is not luck, right? When she was continuously applying, when she
yeah,
was doing those assignments, what she's actually doing is increasing her reach. The reach to go and say, hey, you know what, I can be at it, I can create value, I am creating value. She's telling herself that I can create value, and along with that she's increasing her reach. Once she's doing that, right, and reach takes time, it takes patience, it takes all of that stuff, right? But then the moment you start accepting that the conversion rate is low, reach will be high, but the conversion rate is low, that is when you will continuously be at it. You will keep on expanding your reach. You'll continuously keep going and looking for those companies, looking for, like, doing multiple more of these assignments, validating yourselves, and continuously keep doing that, so that because of that low conversion ratio, it will actually happen. And when it happens, it'll be a wonderful match. Right? So, all of you, please note this down. This is one thing which you will have to keep in your mind. Please don't take it as, "Hey, you know what, I keep doing this, and one day, luckily, some opportunity will land at my place." It's not going to be like that, right? You basically, this is the same rule in content creation also, right? Every content creation guru out there, what do they tell? If you really want to make a very viral video out there, if you want to get a lot of subscribers, followers, you need to constantly keep making videos, you keep doing this, and then what happens through this, you keep gaining a lot of reach. And as you keep gaining a lot of reach, the platforms will understand the kind of people you get into, and that's when people will start connecting with you, and then you will start seeing a lot of success. The same way, right? You work on a lot of these projects, lot of these assignments, lot of practice, improving your efficiency, and thereby increasing your reach, and then the conversion will happen. So always keep this in your mind, right? So that was a wonderful reminder, Shefali, right? So yes, now let's get into the interesting part, right? Which the most awaited part, which people were talking about. That is, how did the final company, that is Wyzard.ai, right? So how did they
Yeah.
reach out to you, and what was the conversation? What happened in the interview, and yeah, how did you get in? So please tell us this interview
Yeah.
experience.
So
Yes,
yeah. So a lot of things
matchmaking
just suddenly
experience,
started happening.
right?
Sorry, what?
I said matchmaking experience. Please share us your matchmaking experience. Go
It
ahead.
was
Yeah.
truly magical matchmaking at Wizard. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, like I said, I did an assignment for some other company, and that assignment I did really well. Like I said, with every assignment I was improving, and I was actually really proud of the kind of work that I showed in that particular assignment. And I submitted that, and some contact from that company actually saw my that particular assignment, and they were also looking for a UX designer, right? And the product was just getting built, and they were in a very initial stage. They wanted like somebody to join in UX and start designing, and they saw my assignment, and they were like suddenly interested, and they thought that it would be a good match, and then they reached out. And at this time I already had one offer in hand, which was
Okay.
about to get finalized, like the negotiations were going on, and it was a full time offer. It was a decent package, and this company just came on, like Wyzard.ai, and I got offered an internship, right?
Hmm.
And I did
How
not think for
you
a
said I got
second,
offered an
because
internship? Wait. Break it down
yeah,
for
I
us.
got offered an internship.
Break it down for
No,
us.
so yeah, yeah. I mean, we had a couple of conversations, right? And I had
How, on
like two,
LinkedIn
three
call,
interviews.
on call or LinkedIn message? Like how?
On video, on video. So they reached out to me on call, and then immediately I had my first interview, which was with the project manager on on a video call, and where I was supposed to showcase my portfolio, and they asked me a couple of questions, right? The usual process, the whiteboarding stuff,
Hmm.
all of that
Huh.
happened, right? And
Okay.
yeah, after that call, immediately, I got, like, I was in touch with the HR, and then I got a call from the CPO at the company, and she had a quick 20-30 minutes chat with me, and I mean, the things were decided then and there, and she kind of like offered me that let me get back to you with the like the nitty-gritties of the offer, but I think we are keen to have you on board. And then after that, I think this was like 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and at 6 o'clock I had the offer from HR, and they wanted to join me the next day at 10 o'clock. And so that those months of waiting, when it happens, it just happens like that. So things just work
Yeah.
out like really soon. But I got offered an internship, right? And I did not think for a second because I had a full time offer, in hand at the other company, which was a skincare brand, right? But I did not think for once because I really believed in the vision of the company and they what they were doing at that point, and I genuinely again took like I went with what my heart said, and I thought, let me do this because I believed in my learnings. I believed in the kind of person that I am, the designer that I am, and what I bring to the table. So I was not for a second worried, that I will not be able to scale overhead. Right? I knew that I will grow. I will show the
Hmm.
value that I bring to the table. Right? So because this company is doing great work, this is like the work of the future that I want to actually be a part of, and this is probably going to be like like a really great place for me to start my UX journey, right, as a professional. So I was completely on board. I said no to the other company. I joined as an intern, and then I converted to a full time job, full time UX designer in 2 months, and then here I am.
You got promoted. Hey, one thing before I forget. That is, obviously, it is into AI space. It requires a lot of learning, and it is very much established that you are a very enthusiastic person and you have been this amazing person and stuff like that. But didn't it occur maybe at least for a few moments that, oh, this is all new territory? Can I really perform? Right?
Yeah,
This is
yeah.
this is
Obviously.
this is so much into tech, and it's a tech heavy platform, isn't it? I mean, this is being even
Yeah.
built for developers, if at all if I'm right, because that's a platform for people to host applications, of course, using agentic workflows. So, and this is a completely new space, isn't it? I mean, you really have to empathize developers. Am I right? You do you have to talk to developers,
Yeah.
empathize how they work and stuff like that. Am I right about
Yeah,
the tech process?
I have like at least 5 to 6 front end developers who are like constantly, and I'm like their single source of contact. So a lot of people I am collaborating with and working with. So it's a very very busy day at any
Correct,
given
correct,
day.
right?
And
So, hmm,
yeah. So what Wizard does is, Anudeep, that it's basically we are building category specific AI agents, right, for SaaS market right now, and it's a free platform which is going to be launched next week, and anybody can come, and you can look for your software. So basically, it is a discovery platform for
okay,
SaaS tools, but we're not limiting ourselves to SaaS, and we will enter other industries as well. And what you were saying about the doubt that we have. So you can just click on Viz agents probably, and this is the new thing which is coming up. Yeah, in the header, the last one, in the
ah,
header. Yeah, yeah. So yeah, and now, like what we're also another offering that we have is that we are going to be selling our AI agents to ISVs. So now you can have that conversational AI platform where people who are coming onto your website can come, and they can conversate with the AI and understand why they should take this software. So this is basically intended at increasing the basically converting more leads, right, and reducing drop offs.
wow, this is really
Yeah,
interesting.
yeah.
This is really
And
interesting.
yeah,
I really love how. So when did this start? When did this start?
we just completed an year, like 2 weeks back. So it's an year old company.
I really love the vision.
Yeah,
I mean, I'm so happy. I mean, like look at how we have built ourselves with so much foundations that
yeah,
most of my students are getting into AI startups, right? And there were people saying, "Oh, you know what? Anudeep doesn't talk about modern UI tools and stuff like that." This, like, I'm
yeah,
like, we talk about stuff so modern. We're not stopping ourselves at the tool which limit us today, right? That's
yeah,
exactly what really happens to us. Like, we
yeah,
always believed in this thing. Tools, new technology will always replace old technology. New mediums will always replace old mediums.
yeah,
You are a designer who can create experiences because humans will always have experiences. You can do that. You will always have a job. Always
yeah,
will be valued. Simple.
yeah,
That's it. You might not be called as UX designer tomorrow because industry will keep, it keeps coming up with new names. Doesn't matter,
yeah, yeah,
right? What you be called doesn't matter, but you will be that person who will create experiences, right?
yeah,
Anyway, coming back to Wizard, so what is, first of all, like what I was trying to ask you, Shefali, is there's a lot of learning curve here, right?
Yes.
And obviously the person you are, you must be very excited about this, right? Now you're like, okay, no more into e-commerce and stuff like that. Now I'm like playing a proper B2B game, because B2B itself requires a lot of learning. That is one thing.
Yes. Yes.
AI requires a lot of learning.
Yeah.
Agents requires a lot of learning, because there's so much
Yes.
ambiguity right now, right? It's not
Yes.
about learning
Exactly.
something which is so established, right? If it was
Yeah.
just a simple SaaS product, then a lot of things are already established.
Yeah.
Nobody knows what's going to happen in this space.
Yeah.
Nobody knows if it is going
It,
to really work out. Nobody knows if the entire idea itself, like if I'm thinking about it, like the idea itself needs a lot of validation right now, but that people would want to shop for agents which can potentially work for them. Crazy. I
yeah.
mean, this is a crazy thought, right? I mean, obviously, I was only thinking that people will create agents for themselves, but now I'm like, okay, why not a shop for agents which can do stuff for me instead of buying
Yeah.
software, right? And we don't know what else might happen. Like, then people might do bundling of this, unbundling of this, and then AI might itself offer a bunch of that, and like crazy,
Yeah.
crazy how things might unfold in this space, right?
Yeah.
And with all
Also
that,
working with swarm technology. So
yeah,
the swarm basically is that multiple AI agents come together to give you an experience. So now
okay.
it's not just one agent. It's basically that one agent is giving you data supplied by a lot of different category agents, right? So everything is connected. Your whole experience is basically interconnected.
Absolutely. Anyway, so
Yeah.
look, I mean, let us, like, I think some of the people might be very overwhelmed thinking about all this stuff. It's very simple. The reason why I'm talking about this, the reason why she is talking about it, both of us are just like kids. We just want to go be very curious about what's happening in the
Yeah.
space and apply it back to our fundamental qualities. That is, you can always go and create experiences. You're always very curious, and you can always create something of quality, irrespective of the tool or platform or technology out there. That's a simple thing which will
Yes.
100% always make us be updated with everything out there. We're not really worried about everything which is coming in, because it is going to naturally fall in place, right? So
Yeah.
that's what is happening over here, right?
I mean, you'll have to learn about it. Like you were asking me, that how
Yes.
it's all new, right? And yeah, I mean, it's you have a very large, platform, like open playground, right? To be innovative, but also that you don't know if things are going to work or not, right? It can backfire, it can work out, but you have to keep learning. Things will change, right? I mean, normally life just evolves.
And
So
keep
AI is a
collaborating as
new
well.
thing.
I'm sure. Hey, by the way, you're based in Gurgaon?
Yeah, I'm listening. Good. Yeah.
Ah, that is surprising. You're not in Bangalore. Okay. Ah, Gurgaon is also promising then. Okay. Sorry for being very biased over here, because I'm in Bangalore.
We are performing with the constraints of air, polluted air, but we're still like going at it and
No,
developing.
what I'm talking about is the importance of the community around, right? Because so recently I was at IIT Guwahati, and I actually met an AI startup founder. This person's startup name is called Thesis.dev, and
Okay.
Thesis.ai or Thesis.dev, one of them, right? And this guy's name is Parikshit, and I met him, and just in like he was another co-speaker at that event. And then we were talking so much. He was talking about generative UI, and the things which he shared just blew my mind, right? And of course, I'm going to share that link. And I think he also is launching his product is like a design tool which can help you build conversational interfaces, and it's really amazing. Like, it's prompt based and it's really amazing, and multiple layers. But anyway, coming back, like the amount of stuff which we just spoke in probably just 4 to 5 hours of what we were like there for, has just
Yeah.
given so much shift in my thinking, right? And the reason why I'm sharing about this is it is so important to be a part of the community, which I'm damn sure you always like, because in the community the first thing you'll always do is like be very enthusiastic, put those messages, always keep sharing knowledge, and ask people questions and stuff like that, right? That same very skill, right, is
Yeah.
so much important right now. because the moment you start having the conversations with the community around, you find people with similar interests and stuff like that, learning automatically happens.
Yeah.
You don't even have to specifically go and sit with it. Learning will automatically happen because there are people around who are so enthusiastic. You both discuss, and a lot of learning happens around there,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. That's true.
So, right? Yes.
Yeah.
So wonderful, wonderful, really wonderful. So, one thing, Shefali, now what I'm curious is, so what do you do? Like, how do you design now? Like, can you tell us, an example project or an example day in the life of a working UX designer for an AI startup? So, what do you do? Hmm.
I mean,
Now, this is one
it's
more
not
interview.
linear.
Yes. Please tell me about yourself,
Yeah.
your past projects. This is your portfolio presentation, right? Just kidding. Go ahead. Yeah. Yeah.
So, I mean, even back in the course, when we were in the course, right, we
Ah,
used to discuss is that it's not linear, right? The
true.
process is not linear.
Yep.
So that holds very true, right? Some days, you'll suddenly, get a very, very, something that you have to come up with very quickly. Sometimes you'll get a little bit time, right? A feature is bigger, so you'll get more time to, ideate and think and do all those things, right? So it's not linear, and you just approach it based on how big the feature is or how big the new project is, right? Or what is required, and then the time that you have for it. So
Okay.
normally, what I would do, I would probably sometimes quickly do the wireframe. Sometimes I wouldn't even do the wireframes. I would just directly jump onto a UI, right? Or sometimes I would have time to do research. If I don't understand something, right, then I would
Yes.
get into the, like nitty gritties of it. I would do ChatGPT. I would do, a lot of things. A lot of visual research is required at times. Sometimes there's no visual research required, right? Because sometimes, like for example, the AI space, right? There's not much to do research with because this stuff doesn't exist right now, right? So
Correct.
then you have to kind of draw inspirations and create mood boards which are more inspirational without any UI
Correct.
screens and all, right? So then
Yes.
those, those images and those things also work as inspiration and then create something. So yeah, and then now this is just a part of being a creating the designs, right? But then having files
Whom are the
which
people
are
you collaborate in general with? Who are the people, like the product
so
managers and
yeah,
developers?
so
Yeah. Who
there,
are the people? Yeah.
yeah. So I'm part of the product team. So in my product team, I am one designer who dedicatedly works for Wyzard, and then I have a graphic designer. Then there are two other UX designers also who work for a patent company, and then I have a project manager who oversees everything, and then we directly work with the CTO as well, who also is part of most of the conversations that we do. So normal, a normal day, my project manager would come in and, we would have a product huddle and he would just come and tell me that, okay, this is the kind of, this is a new thing that we need to build or, this is some new iteration that we're building into a feature, right? And, he would just, give me the download and then I have the time to basically go, think about it, design, and sometimes not have the time to actually do anything, but have to very quickly come up with things. And then after designing, right, having those, and when as part of the program,
Hmm.
as part of the program, we all we did was the design bit, right? But then comes the real part, when the development is actually,
Yes. Yes.
because that's the real product that goes out, right? So,
Correct.
understanding how what are the constraints of the developers, right? What is the constraint of the technology that you're using, right? How does two technologies like interact with each other or talk to each other, right? For a seamless experience, etc., right? You have to do that. Then you have to manage people. You have to have your files in a way that your developers would understand those files, right? Auto layout really helps, so my developers usually would come to me and they would say that it's very easy to for us to see the paddings and the margins and all, because your UI is usually in a state which is very understandable to us. So having those things, having organized files, because if you have to suddenly present to a client or your founders, right? So you should have things in place, having prototypes ready, right? All of those things. And then after this comes the bugs, the bug fixing, how something that you actually designed and thought would
Yeah.
look wonderful, right? But it didn't work out, right? And then the different screen sizes, things would just go bizarre on smaller and larger screens, right? Testing that, and then your light and dark modes and things going haywire on that. So there's so many complexities, right? Yeah, so I mean, all that is actually the part of business that you understand when you actually start working, right? Because it's not just like I created a fancy design and, you know, this is what,
Absolutely.
yeah,
So this is so I'm really happy the way you explained it. Like, like just, and it is really like this, right? It is as if the whole building is on fire, things are just falling off like from every direction, and then you are
yes,
like, right? And it really takes in a lot of maturity to handle these many ambiguities from multiple directions, right?
yeah,
Because most of the times, a lot of people come with these misconceptions. I have learned design. I know that I have to follow a process, if not
yeah,
linear, probably non-linear. This is
yeah,
how I should design, and let me come independently work. Right? I don't
yeah,
care whether what developers do. I don't care what product managers tell. I don't even care
yeah,
about the business. This is what design means, right? And then
yeah,
everything falls apart, right? I mean, first it hits your ego, and then
yeah,
you start complaining, especially on social media, like, no, this is a design immature company, right? We fail to understand, right, that what does design with maturity even mean, right? So, but then this is the reality, guys. This is the reality. The reality is this is how businesses run, right? So a lot of ambiguities, and as a very very mature person, what you need to realize is you're always in ambiguity, but what you're trying to do is to navigate that ambiguity and going towards clarity. And as you're
yes,
going towards it, you'll always keep facing a lot of ambiguities, but you don't get disturbed by these ambiguities and give up, but you still keep figuring out all those small clarities which you keep getting in your way, right? In other words, we just call this as experimentation, right? And there are 100 other words for experimentation, whether you do a by b testing, or you do that split test, like, you do like 5% testing, or you this that whatever beta launches, whatever, right?
yeah,
Multiple cohorts get multiple things, whatever it is. It's very simple. All you're trying to do is go experiment and see which ambiguities can make a little bit more sense going forward, right?
yeah,
That's the way to put it. Instead of looking at it as, what, everything should be very ideal, everything has to work and sit in place for me to go and design. Flip your perspective and say everything is going to be on fire, but let me understand how do I prioritize and work on solving some of the root problems so that this fire doesn't become bigger, right? Or probably this fire can be addressed, and that particular way can we can probably go forward and just ignore this whole thing, right?
yeah.
So that's the way to think, right?
Because
Go
see,
ahead, continue.
Andeep, at the end of the day, right, if I am the designer, I am the developer, and I am the consumer, right, then great. I can have my time. I can take 10 years to build an app, and and it can be like that. But but that's not the
Hey,
reality, right?
even
The
the
point is that you have
customer
to,
also, like, yeah, you said that, like, I mean,
yeah.
you're right. This is
In
a
reality,
simple
you
thing,
have to
right? I
collaborate,
mean,
right?
you're like, you have all the
Yeah,
time. You can obviously get materials at your ease, like, go paint on that canvas, make a painting, and it's for yourself. Take 10
yeah,
years. Nobody's stopping you. Absolutely do it, right?
yeah,
But that's not how businesses run. Yeah.
exactly.
Absolutely,
Yeah,
absolutely. So ultimately your value lies in your ability to create a value, ability to make a business run out there, right? Because tell me one thing, see, people also misunderstand what business means. When I say business, it doesn't mean that you are harming users. No, 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 no. A business thrives when it actually does good
yes,
to users. That's the
yeah,
reason why we are called user experience designers. We care about the experience that users give us business, right?
yeah,
That's absolutely the way it works. You're in good business means it's really working out well for you. Customers do value you, right?
yeah. You're
So
serving something.
don't have these
Yeah,
misconceptions, right? So yes. So having said all this, so I am really happy, and I think I'm damn sure you'll build an amazing portfolio from here as well. I'm damn sure
yeah,
all these ambiguities and the stories which come out of these ambiguities will really build up your portfolio going forward as well, right?
yeah.
So what is your plan going forward? Like, what is that you have thought about doing? Like, I don't want to really say what do you how do you see yourself 5 years from now? I don't want to say that
Yeah.
very. cringy question, but anyway, what's your plan from now? Right?
Uh,
Before we,
I'm
there
very
are a bunch
excited.
of questions which people are asking on the live.
Okay.
So if there are more questions, please put some questions there to Shefali which you want to ask. Please do drop them on the chat over there. If you are watching on LinkedIn, please drop a comment over there. If you're watching on YouTube, you can also comment on YouTube. So please drop in your questions or anything which you want Shefali to answer while while she answers my question about what
The plan.
next. Yes.
So
Hmm.
right now I'm very excited where my company is headed, right,
Yep.
and the space that and what we're building. So very excited about that and want to just bring my A game, right, and build something really amazing because yeah, I mean I associate myself with this product, right, and want to do that. So Abhi, right now I only have this much vision, and then the cringy answer 5 years down the line, yeah, some nice CDO of some company, why not?
Yeah, career growth is absolutely going to happen. Like that, no doubt only. Like there, like if you have a doubt, probably show this live call, give the YouTube link to some of those heads out there. They know that it is going to happen for sure. Like that's very much visible, right? There is no doubt, right? So basically, what she's saying is, I'll submerge into this, like go full swing. That's what I have always done. I've decided
Yeah,
and committed, like
yes,
like a kid.
full on.
Because the biggest
Yeah,
takeaway is one thing which by this time you might have realized one thing about Shefali is the more she does, the more she is excited about it, and the more happiness she gets out of it. That
yeah,
is the way to work, right?
yeah,
That is the kind of
yeah.
people I build. That
Yes,
I'm really proud of, right? Right? You
yeah,
absolutely, I mean, you absolutely love every part of the game which you are trying to play. Everything, every
yes.
ambiguity becomes a learning, every situation becomes a challenge, and like it just you want to do more of it, right? The whole one side it feels stressful, but it is not really stressful. Mentally, it is so rewarding to actually be in that situation and play that game,
So,
right?
yes,
And every drop of sweat which you have just feels so good, right? And
yeah.
life feels so meaningful. Like what else do you want, right?
That's so
So
true. Yeah,
right,
that's exactly how it is. Yeah,
yes. So let us see what are the questions which people have over here. I will ask Charan to probably put some of the questions here for us on the screen that people can see. Meanwhile, I'll just see if I can read out some of the appreciations which might. Hi, Shefali. We're sending good vibes. Thank you. Thank you, Pratyush. Some of the. Yes. Hello, hello. If you take your time understanding the problem, then we can give solutions in minutes. Not probably minutes, but solutions will take time.
yeah.
That
It will be faster.
is Radha Vaishnav. But yes, instead of saying solution will be faster, you can say solution will be more mature, right?
Yeah,
It's going to work in a much better manner. And if you are probably working on a portfolio, I mean, Radha is working on her portfolio project right now. She is my student. So you're working on a portfolio project. Obviously, a good you'll do good work in your project, right? The better you understand the problem, or the better you read the question paper before answering the answer sheet.
yeah.
Yeah. So we'll be answering questions. Yes. Do you sell courses? Absolutely. Obviously,
Yeah.
not, but yes, absolutely selling. I create value, so obviously I take value out of it. So it happens.
Yeah.
If anyone is interested, there is a link in the description of this video. You can apply for mentorship. And if at all you're interested in having this amazing time with me,
Yes.
just be prepared. It's going to be a long time if at all you join. So
Long time, but full
there are
full
no
of value.
shortcuts here. Yeah. So yes. Anyway, coming back. So, Bishwas has a question here. So, Shefali, I just wanted to know if it is okay to use AI generated user persona or the info that we did not get the time to work or research for. Ta-dan! ये है
Oh,
आपका सवाल.
I mean, why not? But I think it's that don't blatantly copy, right? If you just like copy paste, then yeah, I mean you're not getting any value out of it, right? So definitely use AI tools and generate the information that you need to generate. But then you kind of like sort it out, right? Read it through, edit it, right? Delete it, add things to it, right? And then use it. And I think that would be a more wise usage of your time while you're also building on your AI abilities.
Right. So, I mean, see, first of all, like Bishwas or anyone, first, it's absolutely okay to use AI. Okay.
Yeah,
Just because you're using AI doesn't mean it has replaced your ability to do something. That's a misunderstanding of how we do things. AI is a tool which helps your thinking. It adds on to the way you think and you want to craft. Because AI can generate anything, right? It can generate thousands of different types of personas. Like if you compare yourself to a situation where you had to write down a bunch of stuff, probably you're limited to in the time you have writing a set of personas. With AI, you can just probably come up with every permutation combination out there. Though personas don't work like that, but anyway, you can obviously maximize everything and you can come out of all the human limitations which we currently have. So absolutely, you can utilize AI and do much more. Right? Think of it as a tool which can make you even more efficient rather than thinking of it as something which will replace you. Right? But the question I would want to ask you, and you should ask yourself, is why are you even doing a persona? That becomes more important, right? Are you doing a persona because you have to for a UX project? If that's a misconception you have, let me tell you, most projects which we do, we're not actively creating personas out there, right? That's not how things work. But that doesn't mean that we don't have an understanding of the general user, which we have. We do have an understanding, right? But it doesn't mean you're actually writing a structured persona for every project out there. It doesn't work like that, right? So, firstly, ask the question, why do you even need a persona to start with? What can you even replace it with? Think of it. There are multiple frameworks over which you can work with to understand and empathize your user and define your user. And you can use absolutely use ChatGPT to do that, right? And you can also use ChatGPT not only just to define a persona, to actually go and interview or as if ChatGPT is behaving like that particular persona, figure out multiple types of questions and behavioral insights out of it. You can actually now with O1, I've done this Shefali recently. What I've done, I've given a UI screen to ChatGPT O1. I said this is the kind of person you are. Now give me usability testing insights by looking at that screen
nice.
and give me feedback. It actually gave feedback.
Yeah,
Almost as if a real human has looked at the screen. It gave feedback. It told what was comprehensible, what was not comprehensible, what changes in text I can do, what changes in layout I do. It was mind blowing. I did this on a live call. I'm going
wow.
to release that part as a YouTube video on my channel. It was amazing. It was
Yeah,
amazing, right? Of course, I'm not saying AI can completely replace a real person's insight. Obviously, there's a lot which you can learn from a real person's insights on usability
yeah,
testing because humans can empathize humans very well. But this can act as a wonderful way in which you can get very quick validation, right?
yeah,
Now you can do this. Now you're not limited to a very small set, right? You can do this. You can have multiple types of screens, multiple variations, multiple flows with multiple types of people. All of them can be pre-tested using AI.
yeah,
You can come to a convergence and then take a few very important things and test only those with actual users.
yeah,
So the possibilities are limitless if you actually use AI as a tool to, make yourself more efficient. Yeah,
yeah. And then it reduces your time, to market, right?
absolutely.
Because yeah, I mean, you just like fast paced everything. Yeah,
Yes, yes. And on top of it, there's one more insight which I've been learning these days. That is, people do change a lot, right? And with AI, you can simulate the change, because it's very difficult to hire people, recruit people, and then talk to them about newer and newer behaviors, which, especially for a product like yours, the behavior is pretty new, right?
Yeah.
What you can do is you can simulate these behaviors, you can train newer behaviors and simulate them, and you can very quickly test.
Yeah.
I'm damn sure there'll be very quickly tools which will launch, which will utilize AI and help with very quick testing. And I'm damn sure there are tools already with that, and lot of research and everything is going into that.
Yeah.
Uh, but yes, always use tools to your advantage and use them. Use the stories in your portfolio on how you will make your work very efficient using AI, right?
Yeah.
So yes, let's go to the next question over here, and that will be from Vishwa says life is okay if you use 80% AI. Aditi Aditi Patel says, what if someone wants to masters in human computer interaction, UX design, and any universities in USA for it? I think you're asking the wrong people.
Yeah.
We're both
I'm
in
not
India. We love staying here. We love staying here so much that Shefali has returned back from there and came here.
Yes.
He has a promising career here. Right? And people ask me also, like, hey, Anurdeep, like, see, at Amazon, I always had the opportunity to go there. Like, it was probably just a 1 or 2 months thing to just apply and just shift internally. And the people always ask me, but I'm like, see, if you can make enough money over here, why should I even go there? Like, I mean, like, I'm very happy.
Yeah.
Anyway, these jokes apart, do you have any advice for people who want to go to masters? Is there
I
something?
mean, why not? If you think that it can make you more mature and you can learn things, then definitely you should go, right? And you should upskill. But I don't know about the universities who are offering the courses, so probably ChatGPT or Google.
I'll tell you one tip which I tell my students who apply to universities. Uh, do not follow university or the branding. Follow the people. The same advice goes for companies as well. Do not go with the brand names of the companies. Follow the people,
Yeah.
right? If you are finding, you need to, and this takes some effort, right? If you are finding people who are motivated and who can have very great conversations or doing exciting stuff, go join those places because you will have the opportunity to interact with those kind of people. A
Yes.
college is always about finding the community and finding people who can engage in very enthusiastic stuff, so that you will also end up doing a lot of stuff, right?
Yeah.
They'll motivate you to do stuff, and things will automatically happen if you are engaging in a good community, right? So find a great community, look at the students work and the kind of engagement they do, instead of looking at all the branding which the college has or the name it has or the certificate holds and stuff like that. Don't look at all that. Clearly look at the kind of people and what they are doing, right? And it doesn't even matter if they are getting great results and stuff, like, it doesn't even matter. If people are doing very exciting stuff, go there, you will do exciting stuff, and you will find a good match, right? So that's one of the advice I give, and it generally works. And I've like had wonderful students who are also studying out there, and universities are utilizing this and engaging in really great communities and great conversations, right? Okay, next we have Jerry. A student have done 2 case studies. I'm confused. Should I find a job or do more case studies? I mean, I wish this is so binary. Like, please select this switch: job, case study.
There's a
I
middle
wish
space.
it
Keep doing
works.
both. You keep doing both, right? I mean, keep finding a job and keep doing your case studies.
Yeah.
You get- Yeah.
Right. So, first more about Jerry. Right. He says, I'm a first year and I have done 2 case study, but I'm confused. So, student first year, right? So, first year, I'm guessing your first year, some degree which you are studying. I'm assuming that, right? So, let me tell you one thing: become valuable, the industry will find you. Remember this formula. You become valuable, industry will find you. Okay, I'm going to repeat it third time. You become valuable, and the industry will find you. So what does it mean? It means, especially when you have the age,
Yeah.
absolutely only focus on becoming valuable. Focus on skill building. Focus on learning. Do crazy enthusiastic stuff. Do more mistakes. Try more things, right? And make stories out of all of that and build yourself as an all-round person. You become this, industry will find you because these people are very rare. That's the problem, right? You go to any company out there, it is so difficult to find designers. There's so many designers in line. And this has always been the story. Shefali, probably, I don't know if you are involved in any hiring activity
I
right
have.
now,
Yeah. No, I
right?
have been. Yeah.
And it is so difficult to find good designers, and it feels like there are like thousands and thousands and thousands of designers coming out there, but it is so
Yeah.
difficult to find good designers,
Yeah.
right?
When
Because
you sit
people have
to
not
talk, there is a thing.
foundationally built themselves.
Yeah,
Go ahead,
exactly.
say, yeah.
Yeah, when you sit and talk, in the hiring processes, you just like you look at some portfolios which are good, but then when you sit and talk, there's just no, there's no cerebral thinking.
No, basically, what happens over here is it's the document because these are the people who think portfolio is a document. Portfolio
Yeah,
is not them.
yeah,
They think the document gets hired, not me. So I don't have to
yeah,
work on myself. I just have to work on the portfolio website.
yeah,
Just the asset I need to work on, right? It doesn't work. Sorry, it's just a representation of what you are,
exactly.
right? So build yourself, and because it is so rare to find people who are valuable, trust me with this. Go talk to recruiters out there. Go talk to design managers out there, right? The industry always has ways to find. That's exactly what hiring and finding talent is about, by the way, right? You put so much effort trying to apply this and all that stuff, but they are putting so much effort to find to declutter all the people who really don't have any stuff and find those
Yeah,
people who have foundationally built themselves very well,
yeah,
right? So you do that, you will be naturally found,
yeah.
right? So so I hope that will help you, Jerry, right now. Become valuable, the industry will find you. That's it, right?
I want to share a story here, Anudhi. So,
Yes, yes, go ahead.
I think within a month of me joining, Wizard, I
Yeah.
started the hiring process, right? And I was suddenly at the other end, right? Pehle I was applying for jobs, and I had a certain thought process that okay, the portfolio that you said is the representation of yourself. So that's very true,
Correct.
first of all. But it's a very limited representation of you. You
Correct.
have to be better than your portfolio, not the other way around, right? So first. Yeah. Right. Okay. And second thing, when I became the part of hiring, I realized that how you actually get rejected at for even no fault of yours, just because you don't understand the process of what is happening at each step, of filtering out, right? And after that, whenever I would talk to people in our cohort, and because all of us were looking for jobs, I used to give these tips, and I had so many calls with so many people, like hour long calls, just explaining that do this, do this, do this, because this is the filter which is happening, till you reach the project manager taking your interview. Yeah,
Absolutely, absolutely, right? So, and the good part, see, the trick is always about thinking like a funnel, right? I mean, funnel is like a concept which marketeers generally have, right?
yeah,
So, and I was also telling right now, like it's always going to be a percentage. You increase your reach, and then the percentage of conversion happens. So just think of it as a funnel. Like hiring should always start as a funnel. How
yeah,
do I expand my reach? From there, the funnel keeps going low. Like out of this big reach, a few companies will talk to me, right?
yeah,
And then out of that, a few of them are inbound, few of them are outbound. And out of that, these many people will probably call me. And then out of that, these many interviews will happen. Like think of it like a funnel, right? Right? And the funnel keeps going down. If you think of it like a funnel, all the things outside of the funnel, right? All the things like let us say the percentage might be just 1%, 1%, 1% everywhere. Like it may be extremely low, right? All the 99% of the people who are rejecting you and stuff, things not working out, you not really worry about it because sorry, because that's how it works. Like all marketeers all the sales people, all of them are taught this, right? Let's say you are pitching to 100 people, probably the conversion rate is probably just 5%. That means you only get five sales, and that means they're prepared to get rejections from 95 people, and they accept it as a norm because that's the reality, right?
Yeah.
In the same way, you think of your getting hired as a funnel, you'll absolutely not be mentally worried about the averages which exist right there,
Yeah.
right? And all these averages always obviously take care of all the reasons which you don't have in control. Sometimes a company needs different kind of people. It's because it's about a match. It
Yes.
doesn't necessarily say that you are, like, you're not able enough to become a designer.
Yeah.
You're not a matching date for that person.
Yeah.
You can go and become the boyfriend of some other girl. Absolutely no questions on that. That's it, right? Just think of it that way, and I'm damn sure this will never be demotivating for you, right?
Yeah. And don't take it personally because you don't even know the unique requirements that a particular company
Yes,
has, right? It has
yes,
nothing to do with you or your portfolio or you're not good enough, right? I mean,
yes.
just keep moving till you find the
Yes.
right boyfriend girlfriend.
And don't have the misconception that every UX designer is the same, every UX designer role is the same.
Yeah, no,
No,
yeah,
absolutely.
exactly.
Every company, everything is like very different.
Yeah,
It's just an approximation to keep everyone at, like, with some similar things, but what you actually do in every company is going to be absolutely different.
yeah, very
Right? Anyway, more about it in further videos for sure. Let's go forward and see if there is any question. And Jerry says thank you so much. So thank you, Jerry, for listening. Um, Aditi says thank you so much, and then she's like, then which country? US or other than US or like, come on. Right? I mean, like, I've given you the answer. Find
yeah.
enthusiastic people. If enthusiastic people are in Pakistan, please go to Pakistan. Right? So that's my answer. You, why don't you find it out and tell us in the
Yeah,
comments? Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. Anyway, so uh, I yeah, I think we are like, okay, what strategies? Okay, it's me, Veera. Veera says, what strategies have you found effective in aligning stakeholders with user-centered design goals? This is a very jargon-heavy question, but simply, what are the ways in which you work? So we already discussed about it in the video. You go and you can watch it live. We've spoken about how things are as if everything is
fine.
burning on fire.
Yeah,
And how you make things happen. Trying to navigate people and trying to make stuff happen. So we have spoken about it. So you can go, once this live ends, you can go and watch that particular part. It will help you, Veera, right? And there are also a bunch of videos on my channel on navigating stakeholders and how do you discuss with stakeholders and how do you create an impact. How do you work with difficult stakeholders? There are a bunch of videos out there, so you can find some of the videos on my channel as well, right? So yes, thank you. Great. So with that, I think, oh, it's 11:30, and it was like just this time just flew like
flew
I
by.
like
Yeah,
I didn't even realize, but
yeah,
it was a hell of a session, a lot of insights, very inspirational story, and I'm damn sure this is also not enough. There are so many things which we can actually talk about.
yeah,
You
yeah.
guys won't believe, we'll have to stop it because live only is there for a bunch of like, this many hours, and then we can't keep continuing, right? But or else in the community we used to like just talk for hours only, like
Yeah. At nights also.
like
Yeah,
continuously keep on talking and like, right, Shefali, I'm like, definitely I think we should talk a lot, uh, especially about all the work which you're doing in your space.
yeah,
I think next time I visit Gurgaon, I'm definitely going to come.
yeah.
We'll have a conversation. Probably take me to your company. I'm damn sure your founders will be also excited to talk, and
Yes,
I am I'm very excited. So let's do that,
definitely.
and you should also start sharing content, start sharing snippets of the way you work, start writing about some of the
Yeah,
ambiguities you face and stuff like that. So it will definitely inspire people. Great work on having a lot of calls, helping a lot of people, and actively mentoring them, and being that senior, being that person, like that, that like the college senior, that person who has done it and is giving that confidence. So please continue doing that, and people love you for that. And I'm damn sure you will have an amazing career ahead with that same enthusiasm, with that childlike enthusiasm, being at it, committing for it, and then just enjoying and taking learnings from everything.
Yeah.
So I'm damn sure things will become very, very valuable. And yeah, you said like someday you'll become a chief design officer. That'll for sure happen. And that
Yeah.
happens, and we'll be on a live call again. And
Yeah.
then like
Definitely.
probably a little bit more white hair here, but uh, that'll happen, and then you're like, I told you so.
Yeah. But yeah, thank you, Anudeep. This was such a wonderful session. First of all, so amazing catching up, right? And just as it was like earlier times, so much fun talking to you and talking to the two evolved, more evolved versions of both of us talking. Yeah,
Yes,
absolutely
yes, yes.
amazing. Thank you so much.
Yes, I just realized how much I've also changed, right?
Yeah,
When you're saying two evolved people. Yeah,
so that's the goal.
this is so good. Thank you so much, Shefali. Right. So thank you all the viewers. Thank you so much for being with us. There are constantly a bunch of people, probably like more than 20 people have been consistently watching from the last 1.5 hours. Thank you so much. And thank you for all the engagement and all the chat messages. We'll come back to you next week with another episode, with another inspiring story of an inspiring student. We'll come back to you next week. By that time, please go and subscribe to this channel. Go check out multiple other videos. Please do share this video with anyone whom you feel that this story needs to be listened to, and especially the later parts of the story where we discussed a lot of insights. If you think that this advice is generally unheard of, right, just gets lost in a lot of content out there, please share it. Please post it on LinkedIn. Talk about those specific insights which you have learned. And I'm damn sure people who are looking for genuine content, people who are looking for like very good advice out there and things which can unblock them, they'll really be helped when you share the content writing those specifics. So please go and do that. And yeah, so see you again. Student for life. Yeah,
Yeah,
Shefali,
right. Yes.
student for life. Yeah.
So, right. Thank you so much.
Awesome. Yes. Thank you, all of you.